I was on mute. What's up, Amir? How you doing?
Hey, nice to see you again.
You too. I first want to send out positivity to you and well wishes to your family. It's a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, and I'm sending out positivity to not only you but everyone that is in the chat, everyone that will be in the chat, even people in the bushes. I'm sending out positivity to even people who hate my guts. Salute to you all. We're gonna have a great show, guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the video. Um, I always give a disclaimer, Amir, that I don't do commentary for people our age and older. I do commentary for the younger generation. Um, the younger generation is the new wave of the future, in my opinion, and I personally believe that the millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Now that's just my opinion, but and I could be wrong, and I'm willing to accept that. But the younger people, the reason why I talk and the reason why I do content is because I want you to learn from the mistakes of older people. All that elder nonsense is BS. We didn't figure anything out. If you are a teenager, if you are in your early 20s, you are the wave of the future. You live in a digital age. Information is readily available at your fingertips. So never listen to anyone and get caught up in some caught like behavior. Always research, always Google, and just keeping a critical, and I mean critical mind. Tonight's discussion is about the social credit system in China. I don't know if any one of you are aware of that. I know you are aware of that, Amir, because you definitely researched it. But we're going to be talking about the social credit system in China and how, if applied, could it improve the black community in America, and particularly in to even go as far as America, but in the diaspora. Um, Amir, I believe that the Asian culture, I believe that the Asian people are God's chosen people, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with looking at these people and not just admiring them, but uh, basically embracing good aspects of their culture, especially the Chinese.
We're
The
gonna have a lot
obviously
of disagreements.
well, I wasn't. Give me a second, Amir. This isn't a debate. This is me talking. Um, the Chinese and the Japanese clearly are the superior race. They clearly have the better cities. They clearly have the better infrastructure. China will be the planet's superpower within the next 50 years. You're talking about a people that were once an agrarian people just 40, 50 years ago.
Mhm.
20% of the population of the Chinese lived in rural areas just in the 90s. Now, 75% of them live in big cities, and they are continuing to build cities after cities after cities. And you're going to need a system that will ensure stability. Go ahead.
Hi guys. Hello, chaotic truth. You are being chaotic right off the bat. I'm gonna look respectfully disagree with you. I do understand what your point is. I'm not a stranger to logic. I understand that the logic behind your reasoning is that they have come up in very little time, and yes, they are doing a lot of good things, but we must also remember that they didn't figure that out by themselves. They had to learn a system because they were all about communism and dominating people before they realized the American way of free trade and so on and so forth. They had to see it done before they knew how to do it. They saw it from us, they learned it from us. You could argue that they improved on it, possibly, but in no way, in no way are these people the chosen people. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been to China or been around China. They eat anything that moves. Okay. They are not living clean in their cities. If you've ever been to their cities are very dirty, polluted. They have to wear a mask not only for the sweet and sour sniffles, they also have to wear masks because of one another, because of all the pollution that they throw up into the air. This is not something to look up to, in my opinion. And as for their social credit system, I understand what you're saying, that there must be order, but this is not the way. You're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. All right, so with that being said, thank you so much, Amir, for stating what you said. That's totally fine. Now, um, the social credit system in China basically is a system that ensures a level of order that, in my opinion, is unprecedented. Um, Unlike the Western Hemisphere, where credit systems here are based on financials, in China, the credit system is based on uh, your social behavior, your financial behavior, and a multiplicity of other things. Cultural mores. Uh, you can be docked points. Now, mind you, there's no nationalized social credit system there. There's different parts of the country that have different. Uh, I think like apps. They use apps, right, Amir?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
they use apps, and depending on which region you are, you can gain points by taking out your neighbor's trash, helping someone across the street, uh, not littering, etc. And these things add to your social credit score. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am. You're muted. Oh,
I was
okay.
asking you to
Yes,
go
I
ahead. Go
am.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so yes, I am familiar with it. I do understand what it is. And also, part of the social credit score, you mentioned the good parts about it, about being a good Samaritan and all of that. That's all fine and dandy. The problem is, who is the determiner of good? My thing is, if we bring a system like that to the United States, this system is very prone to being misused. Who determines whether you are a good or a bad person? Who's the determiner of this? Who is the what? How are we to know that this will not be used for political advantage? How will we not know that this will be used for certain gains in society, where people with influence and money are the ones that are seen as good, and the ones that are poor or struggling or middle class are seen as bad? I'll give you an example. In China, some people are denied access to the high speed trains in their cities. So they have high speed trains and slow speed trains. The slow speed trains are for the people with low social credit scores, and the high speed ones are for people with the positive credit score, social credit score, pardon. So they are denied access to games, to using certain transportation, to even to leaving the country, even to take a flight. Some flights will actually look at your social credit score and deny you your ability to travel. Now, in America, the country that we live in, America, I appreciate my freedom here. I appreciate my rights. And one of the rights that we have is the right to travel freely among the land, within our borders, of course. We don't have to ask permission to go to Arizona. If I want to go to Arizona, I get on whatever I can that's smoking and I go. This is not the same in China. Everything is restricted. I guess the worst example of this would be North Korea. You see how North Korea, you need permission just to travel to the neighboring city or neighboring village, because they don't really have cities now, do they? This is the type of system that really scares me and worries me, and I don't understand how Americans could see this and not be terrified.
Well, here goes the thing. So you have to put it like this, right? You have to put it like this. In America, right? You have a surge in violence right now, right? What if, hear me out, what if you had a social credit system that said, okay, when you're out and about, just like in China, you will have a notification on your phone, right? And on that notification, it notifies you of people that have bad social credit, which are called disqualified, right? So, what if, for example, just like how you have a surge in violence in premier communities like Hollywood now, Beverly Hills, you got Chicago, where now the criminal element is coming to the like Lakeshore Boulevard in the prime areas. What if you just had notifications like, okay, we have somebody who is disqualified based on their social status, their social credit?
Do you think that is fair? How long does the social credit last? Because do you really think that it's fair? One of the good things about America, that's different from others, is that we have redemption here. Like, I know I'm gonna get. I already know what people are saying because I understand that felons in this country don't have much redemption because once you enter the jail system in this country, you're pretty much there for life. Because no matter what you do once you get out, you really can't. Um, get rid of that title of felon. But let's leave felons aside. What if someone is, let's say, a liar? Someone is a liar. Someone is not kind. Someone, maybe they don't mow their lawn every week or every 2 weeks like they should, and their credit
Yeah,
score goes down. Their social credit score goes down, just like you said. Mowing lawns
yeah.
and so on and so forth. Your social credit score goes down because people are displeased with you. So, because your neighbors are displeased with you, now you will walk around with a bad credit score in front of people that do not know you from Adam. And now you're going to be marked with the mark of the beast as a bad social credit score person because your neighbor, put down your notches on your credit score. So now you're going to be looked at by the rest of the world this way because someone else has determined that you should. I don't agree with this because we shouldn't be held to, it's almost like a caste system. We shouldn't be held to this. Instead of being born into the caste system like India, per se, India, we already see how the caste system has worked. We aren't born into that. So I understand what the caste system that you're talking about, the social credit score, is just another faction uh, of caste system. But it's, instead of it being you were born into this with your last name or being a landlord versus being a doctor like in India, here you're going to have it as people are displeased with you. So now all of a sudden you're seen as bad.
Okay, so let's go back, and I see what you're saying, right? So let's take it up a notch. Let's take it back to China, right? In China, the social credit system is implemented at full scale through different companies. You you have a society uh, where they are the largest population on the planet. It's 1.7 billion Chinese.
Hmm.
They have 100 cities, if I'm not mistaken, that have a
Hmm.
population over, I think, a million. That is insane, considering the fact that you don't even have that in any other part of the planet. How are you to manage a city on the scale of, well, I think it's Shenzhen and other major Chinese cities where you have 12, 15 million people? You know, if you don't have a caste system, if you don't have a system of shame. So, for example, in China, right, in some of these cities, if you jaywalk, the cameras. I don't know if you notice about that. So you do know that there's half of the cameras on the planet are in China. I don't know if you know that, right?
Yes, I know.
Okay. You do know if you jaywalk, they have big monitors, right? And the monitors will capture your face, send it to a database instantaneously, and now your face is plastered on a one of these big screens. This shaming culture allows for the flow of traffic, right? So if people aren't jaywalking because they're shamed if they jaywalk, then that means that people won't litter, right? Because if they litter, they get caught too because they're on camera. If they won't litter, that means that they won't do other crimes. This measure prevents utter chaos. You, in my opinion, And like I said, Amir, you could be right, but in my opinion, you need these structures to maintain major cities, because if you don't have a social credit system, it turns into lawlessness. For example, look at a country like South Africa. Look at cities like Johannesburg, Soweto, etc.
Hmm.
Major cities, utter chaos, because people don't care about littering, people don't care about speeding, people don't care about doing all these things. And if you go look at any statistic on South Africa, particularly those cities, high murder rates, high burglaries, high criminality, etc. But if you have a system that shames the little things and restricts travel for people who, listen, are uncivilized and unruly, then you get these beautiful metropolis that China has, aka God's chosen people. Go ahead, Amir. You got the floor.
What? Oh, if you
Go
don't,
ahead. You
oh
got the
my,
floor. Go ahead. It's up
oh,
to you. Go ahead. You got the
you,
floor. Be
how dare you? How dare you? How
God's chosen
utterly,
people. You know it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
how dare you? I, okay, okay, listen, I think you're trying to troll me tonight, aren't you? Because you know I have a problem with China.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're trolling me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I see that. Right. I see what you're saying. So basically, you're saying that the nanny state is the appropriate way for adult humans to live, is
Yes.
to live by the nanny state. The same thing they
Yes.
have in the UK, in the United Kingdom, they have CCTV.
Yes.
CCTV cameras are everywhere. You cannot, pardon my vulgarity here, but you cannot piss on the street without someone watching you and telling you that you didn't wipe yourself or you didn't do something there. You cannot, I lived in the UK. Cameras are everywhere. Cameras do help. They do help with a lot of crimes, like when people get unfortunately unpersoned. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? People get deleted. The CCTV cameras capture it all, and you're able to find the perpetrator, whoever did it, and that is great. That's great and all. But the problem is when these systems are misused, and we don't want to create a problem where, okay, I guess I want to tell you, like, I understand the good that can come out of that. I understand what you're saying. But at the same time, where is our freedom to be human? Where is our freedom to live without being monitored as children? One moment, I let you speak.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
let
yeah,
you
yeah. No,
speak.
no. I was just moving my hands. I didn't say anything. Go ahead,
Were you saying a hallelujah to what I was saying? Hallelujah?
guys.
Yes,
Please
yes.
subscribe to the Chaotic Truth Live. Go ahead, Amir.
Oh my
Go ahead.
God. So, literally, no, I don't see the nanny state as being a great thing, because the nanny state can also be abused, because when this gets into the wrong hands. Do you ever heard of like that system where it's like you created something that turned into a weapon? Like even the atomic bomb was not made to be this murderous thing, right? It was made by accident, but it
Yes.
turned into a murderous thing. This is one of those systems that could turn into a murderous thing, in my opinion, and it has, and we've seen it. We've seen tyranny. We've seen it. And I think that humans should be left to be humans. You're talking about crossing the street and your social credit score going down because you crossed the street without a light telling you that
Yes.
you are allowed to cross the street. That is absurd. What if this person is in a rush to work? So let me ask you, the person is trying to get to work. He gets to work late because he's trying to follow this social credit score and not jaywalk. So he didn't jaywalk because he wanted to protect his social credit score, but then he ends up getting to work late. So does that also affect his credit score too?
Yes, and it should. You want me to?
So
You want me to continue to
so
answer?
you're saying he should have came out earlier. He
He
should
should
have
have
been
came. He
early.
or she should have left earlier. You're an adult.
So
You're not a 10-year-old.
so accidents happen. We all know that life is not perfect. Life is not a perfect setup. So accidents happen, things come late, trains run slow, trains miss stops. There's so many things that happen. And these sort of things can affect a person's credit score because they are not doing what the system wants them to do at the time that the system wants them to do it. That's absurd.
Amir, I want you to do me a favor. Look at cultures that practice shaming and look at cultures that don't practice shaming. Look at civilizations or societies that practice shaming and that don't practice shaming. That, in my opinion, is the answer. Japan. Japan. If the Japanese government were to leave, left to the people, Japan would still, in my opinion, run fluidly. China, left to their own devices, for the most part, in my opinion, they would run fluidly. These cultures, which I call God's chosen cultures, these cultures, hear me out. I know you're, looking all in the sky. These cultures, they already have a system of self governance. They already have a system that shames people. They don't have a victimhood culture. They don't have a culture that harbors, you know, criminals and bad behavior. They don't. Now, you did make a point when you said that the Chinese spit on the ground and they do all these things, but those things are over with now
What, eating
because
insects, you mean?
okay, Amir, now you're being racist. Now here goes the thing. Now,
How is
in
that?
my now, come on now. They're eating insects. Now, what, come on now. You just, I mean, all the
Have
cuisine
you?
that the Chinese eat, and you brought up insects. Come on.
It's a staple.
Now, Amir, check this out. Check this out for a minute. In China, you have the social credit system that punishes individuals that are in debt. It punishes individuals that litter, um, speed, break other traffic infractions. It punishes individuals that jaywalk, that smoke cigarettes, that drink alcohol. In my opinion, and you can look this up because you already researched it, a lot of the people in China love this system because this system allows them to be even better human beings. There are, I mean, for the most part, Chinese, I mean, they're pretty much already perfect, but you're talking about being even more perfect now.
What Chinese have you been looking at?
Amir, please, please. Now hear me out for a minute. All I'm
You're
saying,
trolling. You're
I'm not
trolling.
Amir,
You
am I
gotta.
trolling when I say that that China is a superpower? Am I trolling? Am I
It
trolling
just
when
became.
am
Just
does it
became.
matter? Are they a super okay, okay. So what if they just became superpowers? But what I'm saying is, how did they become superpowers?
By looking at other superpowers.
So what? That's exact. Well, okay. So they looked at America. They looked at industry here. They looked at import export. They created society, a society built on or framed after Western culture to a degree, and they took that and they ran with that. Now they have 100 mega cities with with each city that has a population over 1 million. You have cities in America. You have cities in America that have been here since the founding of America that are losing populations left and right because industry has left. But in China, you have 100 cities with 1 million population. What are they doing that we are not doing? And in my opinion, this social credit system, it ensures that these people will become the superior race, which they are rightful to do so because they are ensuring that, listen, for us to be a superior culture, we don't want degeneracy.
I need some tea.
Drinking, smoking, all of these things lead to degeneracy. Let's be honest. Amir, you're Arab, right? So you already know about alcohol. Arabs don't drink alcohol, and a lot of bad behavior comes from alcoholism. A lot of uh, 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 ailments come from smoking cigarettes, etc. So, in my opinion, stopping jaywalkers by shaming them, you know what it does? It stops people from littering. It stops people from killing each other. I would even go as far as to say that that shaming culture prevents a lot of even major offenses down the line because they're thinking, damn, I can't even jaywalk. So you already know what happened if I kill somebody or delete something.
You're oversimplifying an issue. You
Maybe
are
so.
definitely
Go ahead. You got the floor.
chaotic. This
Go
is
ahead.
nonsense. You're talking about their cities and so on, and you're talking about how American cities are being depopulated and left abandoned and so on. There's a reason for that because now we're talking about politics here. The politics in our country have made it so that Americans don't have the work that now the Chinese have. So yes, they are able to build their cities high and bright. They are able to build their cities high and bright. While we are left here struggling because the factories that we used to have here are now there. All of the inventions that we used to make are now being made there. All the things that, I mean, can't you see that? Can't you see that the politics have destroyed America, the American innovative spirit that we used to have here? It's gone.
Can I ask you a
And that
question?
all based on,
Can I ask you this question real quick?
go on.
If the social credit system was implemented into the black culture, what do you think would happen?
Do you mean American or do you mean
The title was about
African?
black people, black Americans. Let's talk about black Americans. Let's just say if we scaled the social credit system to just particularly black Americans, what do you think will happen?
You just ran right over my point because you know I was making a point, didn't you?
Your points are all valid. Trust me. I agree with a lot of the things that you're saying, but I would just like to know if you implemented this in black culture, what would happen?
I don't know about the black people in particular, but all I know is that if you did this in America, there would be outrage in the beginning, and then people would just slowly start being accustomed to it. Do I believe that shame is necessary? Yes, I do. And this is the reason why America has fallen so far from grace as it has, because there is no more shame. You can't be shamed for anything. You can't be shamed for being fat. You can't be shamed for being a whore. You can't be shamed for being a drug addict. You can't be shamed for anything anymore. So this is why America has fallen so far. And if we were to implement a system like that, we would, I mean, people like you would be willingly um, chipped, right? Put that chip right in your arm. There's your social credit score. People like you is what the government is baiting on. They're waiting for people like you to come along and say, yes, let's do this. Let's let the government decide who is good and who is bad. And I'll go along with it just because I think that there's going to be some benefits from it without thinking about all the harm that can be done later.
You know, you know what would happen, Amir, and you could be right, but you know what I believe would happen in black culture? I believe the good blacks, like myself, the good blacks would embrace this type of system. Because here goes the thing.
What does good mean?
Now, Amir, stop it. You
No,
know
tell
what good
me.
Amir, a good black is different from a bad black. Now stop it. You know what I mean.
But wouldn't that be the difference between a good white and a
I
bad
don't
white at the
care
same time?
about I don't care about them. I'm black. I care about black people. I care about the continued posterity and continuity of the black race. White people should care about white people. Arabs should care about Arabs. Asians should care about Asians. I care about blacks. So I don't know about whites and what they do, but I know about blacks. And I tell you this, what should happen or what would happen is that you would have such a stronghold on ignorance. Everything that you do, every time you speed, every time you break a law, your social credit will go so down. And what happens is that, in my opinion, because you did the research in China, even if you associate around discredited people, you lose certain points. So in America, imagine a good black who's credited. He doesn't want to be around discredited blacks. And it's just going to set a standard. It's going to separate. And in my opinion, when you get a notification saying, hey, there's a Pookie or a Ray Ray in this area, you should probably leave. But that's what happens. But you read the research in China. That's what they do in China, right? A discredited person, when they're around credited people, they get a notification on their phone, like you are in the area of a discredited person. And generally, they notify the authorities. Not to say that the person has committed a crime or not, but they eliminate a possible threat before it even happens. So imagine you're at a ball game. There was a shooting at Atlanta Park the other day, right? You didn't hear about it, right? But there was a shooting, right? Little black girl was deleted. Imagine you're at a park, you're a good black, and you're there with other good blacks, and you get a notification. Hey, there's a discredited Pookie running around. Imagine just seas of good blacks just leaving before the Pookie even gets to shooting at whoever was his target there. You see, these things need to happen, especially in the black culture. Imagine this. You're in Beverly Hills. Did you see all the do you know about all the crime, the looting going on now? Not looting, but
Yeah,
the grab and
I know.
dash going on, and they go to high-end areas.
It is
Amir,
looting. Yeah, it is.
who's doing that? It's blacks.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a store owner there, and you get a notification, and the notification says there's a discredited Ray Ray here. He's about a block away. Well, all the store owners will say, wow, let's call the police right now. Let's call before these discredited people even come into the store. Because the police will come and they will just be there as a presence. You know, these things need to happen. Again, you could be right and I could be wrong. But Amir, one thing that I do know is that I know my people. I am the Negro whisperer, Amir, and I'm telling you, I
What?
know. Amir, listen to me. Listen to me, Amir.
I'm done.
Amir, listen to me. I know how to manage Negroes. You need this type of system, and you do need it in terms of every other culture as well. The model, the template, should be China. Look at their culture and look at everybody else's culture. That's all you gotta do. Go ahead, Amir. I was talking your head off.
I just want to make a public service announcement that I am not in agreement with this guy. I do not agree with this guy. I'm not in agreement with what he says. This is not, guys, I swear, this is not me. I am not. Okay, now that that's done. I do agree with you that something needs to change. Something needs to change in the culture, yes. There should be more shame. I believe the quickest way to resolve this crime issue that we have in the United States is to give the prestige back to the police, give the prestige and dignity of that job that they do, give it back to them. There's other ways to fix this problem without creating a freaking nanny state. I don't understand like how it's like we go from something so okay. There's crime, there's degeneracy. We do need to bring back shame, but we can do that without doing this. Does that make sense? Like we don't need to. I mean, the reason why America is so great and is so sought after to live here, that's why people you see are dying in the desert trying to cross borders to come here. It's not because of a nanny state or a social credit system. They're coming here because of the freedom that Americans have. That's something that's unique to us. And I get what you're trying to say. You know, oh, everyone be shamed and so on. We can bring back shame in this country and we should, but that is not the way. We don't need to follow anything that China does because China, without us, they wouldn't be what they are right now. We already know that. And you know that more than anyone, Chaotic. That's why I can't believe you're saying what you're saying. They wouldn't be what they are and without us. They would still be smoking their opium pipes, back in huts somewhere. They would still be that. But now they are what they are because of us. We gave them their factories that they have. We gave them the model on how to live in a free trade system. We are the ones who did that for them. So to say that we need to follow their model in anything is absurd to me, and no, I disagree. And yes, we should bring back shame in this culture, in this country, but that's not the way, chaotic.
In Singapore, which is in China, but let me ask you this question, right?
Hmm?
Did you know that chewing gum, is banned? Did you know that?
No.
Okay. In Singapore, do you know that drug trafficking is punishable by death? Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Muslim
Now,
country. All
n-
Muslim countries are like
now,
that.
Amir, what is the crime rate in Singapore?
Very low. I don't know the exact
Okay.
percentage.
Yeah.
It's very low.
Now, they have a culture of extremities. Fine. But they are also an economic hub. Just 50 years ago, going by what you're saying, the people there in Singapore were living in squander, smoking on hookah. Yeah. But what about now? They made the steps to become a superior culture. And America is losing. Again, we not to sound like a broken record, Amir, but we have major cities that once had a population of over a million. Detroit, Cleveland. Populations are now in what, 150,000. Utter chaos. Some of these cities in America look like third world countries. Detroit. Some
But
of
that
these
isn't because of the social system. That isn't because of the social credit. That is because of the politics in those areas that have removed factories.
exactly. Exactly. It's because they don't have social credit. Imagine this. Imagine if you commit certain types of violent crimes and you go into a high end business district and you have status non grata. Imagine that. These things need to happen because look at China. China doesn't let your common workaday, discredited China man travel because they don't want that ignorance around developed areas, around developed people or civilized people. They don't want that, Amir. Now, again, you could be right, and I'm hoping you're right. But the title is about black people, and I'm telling you, I'm black. I know how we are. We're destructive. Everywhere we go, we tear up. We are a evil race of people. We are. Not all of us, but you have to have these restrictions with our people. The reason why Pookie and Ray Ray are shooting up the block is because they don't have a social credit system. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we had a social credit system and you couldn't travel because of your rating? Yes, it needs to be implemented. Little kids are dying. I know, Amir, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, man. Maybe you should calm down. Go ahead.
You know, shame, like you said, shame should be brought back. I do believe that. Um, chaotic. I understand what you're trying to say, but the way that you're trying to have this done, the way that you are seeking the solution to these problems is not. It's a way that you're going to later regret. It's a way that you're not going to want your children to live as well. Like you're thinking about it right now. Yeah, it'll solve the issues that we have with some violence. I having some echo. Can you mute yourself for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So it will solve some of the issues with the violence that you're speaking about. I do agree. But later on, you're going to regret it. And you're going to regret it for the reasons of power. We all know that power in the wrong hands corrupts. Power corrupts. And until what end is this social credit thing going to go? It starts off with jaywalking and not coming to work on time. Later on, what is it going to be? Oh, you didn't eat properly, or what? Where else is this going to go? Because things tend to progress. They don't just get there and stay. They will progress. So until what end is this social credit score going to go to? Oh, let's say, oh, you don't have intimacy with your wife as many times as the government demands that you do. Your wife is unhappy because you didn't bring her a gift for Valentine's Day. Now your social credit, it's like, how invasive is this system going to be? Because it will not just stay the way it starts. And we all know that things progress. What is your answer? Where until what end?
Give me a country, give me a government where things progress, things that were seen, the people embraced it, that turned into what you're saying. I'm open to hear this.
America.
Okay, I'm open to hearing your example about America. What about America?
Sure. I'll start off in 2012, 2013. Obama had reached out and said, oh, the LGBT community should be able to get married. They only want to get married. I'm making this law for them so they can get married. It's not going to be an issue. Everybody deserves the right to get married. Now we fast forward until today. They're in schools, indoctrinating children, telling people that if you disagree with anything that they do, that you are a homo. Never mind, I can't say that. A phobia of some sort. These things don't just start off and just stay. Even if you want to go the conservative route, do you want to go the conservative route? Here, I'll give you an example in a conservative way. Um, People start off by saying, we should bring Christianity back in schools. Let's bring Christianity back in schools, which a lot of people say that's a darn good idea. Then later on, it can progress, which we've seen it do, to hatred for other religions. People fighting with each other, saying, oh, you can't pray this way because Christianity is the only way in this country. When the United States is a place that is open to all religions, you could have a religion of worshiping bananas, and that's okay. So things tend to progress. No matter which way you want to go, left or right, they will progress. They never stay the way they started. This is why the balance is necessary. That balance of conservatism versus liberalism, that is a balance that we have to figure out. And this is why we have the debates that we have in this country, because it's important.
You
We don't need
gave
a system like that.
you gave some great examples, and I absolutely agree with you. What started off as should gays marry ended up being, um, Governor DeSantis had to create a bill was created in Florida that was passed that gave parents their rights. They didn't want certain types of people teaching their kids certain things, right? Because it progressed into something bad, right? You gave great
Mm.
examples. I'll give you that. This may be apples to oranges, though, Amir, but China is a mega power.
So is
Is it
America.
not? Is it not a mega power, Amir?
So is America.
But it's not. I'm not okay. Well, we already know America is, but is not China a mega power? Does not China have major cities, hundreds of major cities with millions and millions of people in each city? Okay.
They have too many
Does,
people.
okay, I agree with you.
They're forced.
Does China not
But
have industry? Does China not have export imports? Does China not have one of the greatest, well, not greatest, but one of the largest standing armies on the planet? You're going to have to control that type of government or country with a certain type of system. If you don't have a system like that, imagine, for example, if you didn't shame litterers in China, right? We already know that Chinese people have bad habits. You even said it earlier. But imagine if you didn't shame these litterers. You would have entire mega cities looking like Liberia. Now, what I'm saying is that is it possible that they could make extremities on par with the examples that you gave? Maybe. But you did your research, Amir. Did not your research tell you that the people in China have overwhelmingly accepted this?
Yeah, because they're used to tyranny. They are used to it. Have you heard of Tiananmen Square? They're used to
I'm
getting run
familiar.
over with. They're used to that, and they have no choice.
Amir,
Chaotic,
your arguments are very valid.
chaotic.
But no, your arguments are valid. I'll give you that. But the fact of the matter is that these people
You're
aren't
killing me.
aren't migrating to America in droves like they once were. They know that China is going to be a mega power. They want these systems in place. And from what I've researched, these systems have made China in many of those cities beautiful. China used to have some of the worst traffic, cities looking terrible. Until we get to those levels, fine. But right now, all I have to say is look at China and look at other countries. That's all I have to say. You're right. I'll give you that. But here goes the thing, Amir. Have you ever heard of the broken windows theory?
Broken windows.
Yeah, it's a theory in criminal justice. Um, the theory states that if you have one home on a block or a street, it's abandoned, has broken windows, that leads to chaos eventually. I've seen it happen.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen it happen in
oh,
my own life.
yes.
I've seen people walk down the street, Amir, drinking malt liquor, and they throw the malt liquor can on the ground.
What is malt liquor?
Malt liquor is bottom shelf beer, aka rot gut beer. I've seen it, Amir. I've seen the destruction of so many black communities, particularly. And all it takes is shaming. You're a litterer, you should be shamed. Your face should be on a billboard. This guy's a major litterer,
A serial litterer.
a serial
God
litterer.
forbid.
Forget a serial killer. Start with the serial litterers.
God forbid.
Start with the serial baby mamas. And then, in China, if you are discredited, you lose not only traveling privileges, but you lose other privileges. Imagine if you were a discredited American, whatever color. Imagine you lose out on certain government subsidies. I believe that this will make us better. See, America, you're sitting there in your $3,000 robe in your mansion that's on a cul-de-sac in a gated community. You have the luxury to say all these things. You remind me so much of kids in college that I knew. They had their $2,000 laptops. They were drinking their $12 smoothies, living in fancy dorms, and they tried to tell people about socialism. Nah, Mary, you know, you know for a fact
I do
that
not know.
social credit is a good system. You know it. Now, you know it's a good system. Keep it real. Go ahead.
It should be implemented by the people, not the government. If that's what you really want, if that's what the people want, it should be implemented for the people by the people, not by daddy government. The government already has too much of their hand up our rear ends for us to continue to be their puppets. If
Give me
this
an
is something that
example.
the people want, an example
Yeah.
of what?
You said that the government has their hands up people's rear end in America. Give me an example.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Have you seen taxes lately? Have you seen the freedoms that are being taken away from us daily?
Mm.
Our freedom of speech, Section 230 on the internet, even the internet, and that's something that the government implemented, and that is allowed to run free. Something that I was criticizing Trump for not fixing, but the government is already extending its hands so far up our rear ends that if they spit, I will spit. I don't like it. And I don't want to see any more governmental control over the people. I want us to be freer people. And if that's something that, if we do need shame, which I agree, we do need shame, it should be implemented by the people, for the people, that will not be corrupted by the government and the governmental systems.
Amir, I gotta ask you this, and there's gonna be a lot of irony to it. Were you born here?
I've been here long enough.
Amir, you sound unpatriotic right now. Those high taxes pay for our smooth roads, our bridges,
I'm not
our
talking about that,
our
taxes.
police,
I'm not talking about that.
our government has provided for free education up until 18. You're
And
allowed
our
to go out.
educational system sucks.
That's
And our
because
educational
that's
system
is it
sucks.
is it is it wait a minute, now hear me out. What
Mm-hmm.
was stopping you, not you because you're intelligent, but what was stopping you
Mm-hmm.
from going to your public library that was provided by the government?
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping you from using the government's loans instead of majoring in underwater basket weaving? How come you didn't major in biology to get into medical school? See, I've heard this conversation over and over from people. And I know what you're trying to do, Amir. You're putting up a good fight. You're trying to be the devil's
Wait,
advocate here,
no,
people.
wait. You
You
are taking
know,
that. No, no, no. Wait, wait, wait.
go
That
go
is
ahead, go
wrong,
ahead,
chaotic.
go
That
ahead.
is so wrong
Well,
because
what you're
you're trying to
complaining
switch that
about
around.
America? I'm confused here. Go ahead. You got the floor.
No, 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 no. I love America. I just want America to be better. And you're talking about all the taxes that they're taking for education and so on. How is the education? We are, what is it, number 17 or worse when it comes to education worldwide?
You
Are
know
you are
why?
you are you
And you
no,
know why?
wait, you didn't let me finish. You're
Oh, go
talking
ahead.
about all the money that they're taking from us. Well, I don't see that money being put into good use. I mean, if you really want to speak about, what is it, the infrastructure you're talking about? Our infrastructure is very poor for a modern country. It's very bad for a modern country, a modern day country, especially a country that is considered to be one of the biggest. Well, we were one of them now. Now we're falling from grace. But a mega power in the world, our infrastructure is pathetic. So you're talking about all this money. Where is this money going? Well, you're talking about, oh, it's going to the good stuff. No, it's not. It's going into corrupt politicians' pockets. It's not going into the things that it should be going. Because if it were, we would have better schools. We would have better infrastructure, and we don't.
Amir,
Hmm.
I was teaching before you were born. Now, hear me out for a minute. I've taught special education. I was a sub at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I taught in the schools. A lot of these schools are state of the art. A lot of federal funding goes into especially inner city public schools. How do I know? I also went to inner city public schools. It's not the schools that are bad, Amir. It's the bad parents and the bad students.
It's both. Yes,
That
it is both.
I don't think it's well. It may be both from your
It is
perspective,
both.
but I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you from my experience. Unlike China, which is a superior country, a superior nation state
Oh my God.
that produces tiger moms and tiger children.
Mm.
In America, you don't really have that here, especially in the inner city public schools.
That is true. That's true.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, you always talking about black people. No, no, I'm not. I am identifying a problem in my racial group that I have experienced and seen. There was no shaming when I was a kid either. You see, I was a superior student around idiots. And nobody ever uplifted me. Nobody ever said, hey man, this kid right here. No. You know who was uplifted? The Tyrones and Pookies. Those were the kids that were uplifted. When I was a teacher, when I set up engineering programs for the kids, when I set up like math competitions, and the superior black kids did better, than the inferior black kids. And I purchased pizza for the superior black kids. Stupid black administrators and principals came in and said, you should give all of them stuff. See, there's no shame in culture here. And this is
You're right.
why the black community is the way that it is. Period. China would never behave like that on a grand scale.
No.
Just that's not a part of their culture. They uplift the superior Chinese. That's how it should be. Amir, I am under 6 feet tall. Do you think that I should try to go to the NBA because I'm just as equal as LeBron? I'm a human being, right? No, I have an inferior height. That's the problem with this backwards country.
True.
America. I love America, by the way.
Me
We
too.
are a society of participation trophy, non-shaming generation culture.
True.
And you don't have to agree with me at all. I for the most part, Amir, you've been on point. But I know for a fact if you start shaming people, especially my people, they work better. Amir, let me tell you this story. When I was teaching one time, it was a classroom about 30 black kids. They were acting a fool. Amir, the moment that I called them N words with a hard ER, all of a sudden they wanted to do their work. A couple of them were crying. They told their parents, and I told them, I said, the parents, well, the mom said, did you call my son this? I said, did I call your son that? Yeah, absolutely damn right I called him that. Because what else was he acting like? Was he acting like an angel? Was he acting, oh, you can't talk to him? No. Your black son, he's in a black school disrespecting black culture by being an idiot right now. He's disrespecting black authority. And instead of you reprimanding him, you are up here validating his bad behavior. So you're not shaming what's negative about him. You're putting it on a pedestal. You're pedestalizing ignorance. And that's why black countries, black cities in America look the way that they do. Because we don't shame the inferior behaviors that we display and do. The Chinese have figured it out. We don't like littering. We don't like people spitting out their gum on the street. We don't like jaywalkers. We don't like this. And if these systems are in place, I believe that it creates a more peaceful society. There was a black man in Africa. His name was Thomas Sankara. Amir, tell me if I'm talking too long, Amir.
I do want to say something, but I'll let you finish your points.
There was a black man, a great black man. His name was Thomas Sankara. He was the president of Burkina Faso in 1984. He was killed in 1987 in a coup d'etat. When he took power, he renamed the country. He took he nationalized the resources. He set a standard for the people in Burkina Faso. And in 3 years, their GDP, their production, all of it increased. But as soon as Blaise Compaoré, his friend who killed him, as soon as he took over in 1987, Burkina Faso went right back to what it was before, ignorance. I am not an Uncle Tom, Amir. I am not an Uncle Ruckus.
I think the proper term is Sambo.
Yeah, Sam. Amir, don't you can't say that I'm playing Amir. You can say whatever you
Oh.
want. No, you can say it.
Sorry.
Amir.
I found that out.
Amir, if blacks followed me and listened to, and this is why I'm saying this to the kids, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. If you follow what I'm saying, I'm telling you, you will create a superior ethnic group in this country on par with the Jews, on par with the Asians.
You can't say that word.
Well, you already know that the Asians are superior, Amir. Stop it. Go ahead,
I
Amir.
wasn't talking about them. What? Oh my God.
Go ahead,
You
Amir.
are trolling me so
I'm
bad
not
today,
trolling,
chaotic.
and that's the
I
problem.
am
I'm
mad
not
at you.
trolling people.
Okay, wait. I want to get a point, and then you can go back to your monologues. I chaotic.
Yeah.
We used to have a social system here. We used to have a social credit score, and it used to be fathers. They were the ones who brought the shame to the homes and to the people. They were the ones who brought order and discipline, and who made sure that the children were following a standard and people were following a standard. It was the men. That was our social credit system in America. What you're talking about, I don't agree with it because it comes from the government. I don't trust the government. I don't trust an overseeing power above me. I don't
Hmm.
trust that. I trust men. I would trust men to establish this system that you're talking about, this social credit score. And I believe that men, if we brought back, like I said, that's what I said, it should be originated through the people. The people should create the system, not the government. I distrust any form of government. I just don't trust it because I know it can be corrupted easily. But men, when you have their own sons on the line, their own daughters on the line, they're going to do what's best. And I trust men, and they should be the social credit score. Go on.
Amir, I feel as though we are two kindred spirits who are both right. However, we have two different ideologies in terms of governance. You believe that the body politic um, should rest on the fathers being in the home. I agree with that. But the body politic, in my opinion, should follow, in my opinion, what's best for the entire nation. The entire nation has become digital now. And what I'm saying is that with our digital age that we live in now, daddy government will ensure safety and stability through cameras, through GPS, something that your father cannot do. I understand having strong fathers, but we don't live in those times anymore where, oh yeah, I grew up with a dad in the home and I have discipline. I can understand that. But a society that is on par with damn near the space age, to manage hundreds of millions of people, you're going to need more than just daddy in the home. You're going to need a system on scale, because listen, you can have dad in the home, but that doesn't ensure that this kid won't litter. It won't ensure that this kid won't grow up to be walking down the street drinking malt liquor. I you drink malt liquor, you should be Dr. Pointer to. You're smoking
We have
cigarettes.
police.
Well, I know we have police, but you smoke cigarettes, you do this just like in China, you get docked a few points or two. Because you know why in China smoking cigarettes might be, you might get docked a point or two? Because you become a burden on the medical
on the
on the
on the
health,
health system.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the health
Mhm.
system.
Yeah.
And so you may grow up with a father, but hey, you might like smoking some cigarettes. Father didn't stop you from smoking cigarettes, but now you're becoming a burden on the healthcare system. So maybe you
So
should
is it?
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you got you
It,
got the floor.
is it the government's choice on what you can do to your body? If you want to harm your body, that's your choice. And I mean, how does the government know that you don't have good insurance? How does the government know what kind of, some people smoke cigarettes all their lives and nothing happens to them. And then some people
Absolutely.
smoke a pack of cigarettes and then they get cancer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just depends on and that's what I'm saying. How is the government responsible for telling you what you can put in your body, what you can do with your own personal autonomy? Like, I don't agree with the government
You
telling
you,
me what
you
I
do
can do.
know
If I want to take myself out slowly, then let me do so.
you do know that the social credit system in China is not necessarily entirely ran by the government. It's independent. Um, it's not nationalized yet. It's just independent companies that have like this app or whatever. You do know that, right, Amir?
Right, but those people who have these apps and so on that they're using, who are these people? And did they come to a consensus with the town that they're in that this is what we should be doing? I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm just if it is by the people and for the people, fine. I'm all for it. Go ahead. If that's what
Drop
you
the link,
guys
chamber.
want, oh my gosh. If that's what you guys want, then that's what you guys want as a consensus. They came to a consensus about this. What I'm talking about is governmental control. And also, I don't. When you talk about governmental control, this stuff talking about like CCTV cameras and all of that, watching everything that you do, and having they can identify you just from driving your car. They
They
just
should.
identify your it just all this tracking stuff,
They
knowing where
should
you're
track
at all times. I'm like, you don't need to know where I'm at all times. Like I'm not okay with that.
Well, Amir,
I believe in privacy.
well, Amir, see, here goes the thing. Now, you and I both are a part of the same hypocrisy. Now, yeah, you may be different, but now we live in a generation now where people, uh, location drop. They tell people to come meet them up. People know where people are at all times, right?
Yeah, if you put your life online, but that's not out of your permission. That's your permission, you dropping your location and telling people, you
Yeah,
Facebooking wherever you are all the time. That's your decision to do that. I
yeah.
like to be private. I like to have my own privacy. I don't like people to know where I'm at all the time.
That's
So what are
you,
you going to do for me?
Amir. See, again, and this is and Jr. Please drop the link, good sir. See, Amir, this is exactly why I've made this live stream, not for old people like you and I, but for younger people like 17, 18, 19. They live in a digital age now. Most 17, 18-year olds are not like us. I'm a millennial. I don't know what you are, Amir, but yes. When I was a kid growing up, we didn't have cell phones. The internet was trash compared to now. But these kids are growing up and they all want to be seen and heard. These kids won't care if the government knows where they're at because the government already knows where they're at. They have iPhones. I mean, come on now. Your iPhone literally is a GPS system. The Apple knows where you're at, and Apple definitely gives information to the government. Let's be honest. So
Yeah, that's
these
true.
kids don't care about their location enough. I listen. Eh, eh, I would argue, Amir. Amir,
Mhm.
think about this. You're a well-to-do, let's hypothetical. You're a well-to-do entrepreneur, you have a business. You have a country now that has a pandemic of violence, which we do. You got smash and grabs, you got all this going on. Imagine an app, and the app tells you, "Hey, you got Billy Joe Bob from the trailer park and Ray Ray, they're around the block and they have a history of this." Imagine having that information right at your fingertips. Because a camera located their car in your high-end area. There's been a lot of smash and grabs in high-end areas. You as an entrepreneur get the information. So you already have knowledge that, hey man, we got these people in this area. And you send out a message to 12 other entrepreneurs in the area, say, hey man, watch out. Be on high alert. You mean to tell me people will fight against that? Who is this in the back? What's up, man?
Canadian.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey,
Doing well.
Amir, I have to take care of a phone call for like 2 minutes. Can you give me 2 minutes, please?
No, I'm charging you for that. Your social credit score
Absolutely.
is going to go
Social
down.
credit going down. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. I gotta take this phone call. This is my mom.
Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Mary? Been a
Hi, Mr.
while.
Nigerian. It has been, hasn't it? How are you?
I've been good to try and take it easy. I was listening to the conversation
Hmm.
and some of the talking point that Kiara was putting out, I wouldn't not really sitting well with it. You know, he mentioned China, this, China, that. There's a lot of other issues that China have, unless you were living in there or you have inside school what's going on or listen to the news. China was
Hmm.
having a population issue at one point. Now they're trying to open up to the way they want people to have more kids. Because there was
Mm,
a so-called real estate boom that took place, where they built so many apartment housing that they wasn't able to fill it up. That was another thing he overlooked. He also
right,
overlooked the fact that China was investing a lot more in Africa when they sold most of their debt back in the 2011-2012 election, which I pay close attention to. I'm an IT guy, so you pay attention to the data and information. They
mm,
invest in Nigeria, they invest in other African countries. One of my classmates, one of my manufacturing plant in Africa, did some business with the Chinese, which is well. But the reason
but
why,
Mr. Canadian,
yeah,
Mr. Canadian, really quickly, Chaotic's point was not about their business tactics. His point was about their maintaining of a high population that they have. They have a very high population that they maintain
hmm
correctly. So, what do you think about the social credit score? Do you agree
the
with people
social credit,
being?
it sounds something that they were forced upon their own people. It wasn't like it was agreed upon. That's
Mm,
what you need to understand. The people didn't agree to that.
mm,
This is why some of the people were leaving China. They didn't come all the way to America. There was other countries they can go to. Now these days,
right,
they're migrating to Africa, which I was trying to point out.
right.
A lot of Chinese have been moving to Africa for the past, what, decade now? Since 2012? With,
But what do you think about the social credit system in America? Do you think that that would work well in communities in America? Chaotic was talking about
it,
specifically the Black communities.
trust me when I say this, it's not going to work. For the simple fact that you mentioned earlier, a country have a balance. When they have a liberal, you have a conservative. The liberal may not like it, the conservative may like it. And may end up flip side until certain clause are put into place that the conservative may end up hating it and the liberal may end up liking it. Like you said,
Right,
you make one law, that law end up changing over a period of time.
right.
What we need to bring back is not no law, sir. It's about recreating the community as it used to be. Whereby you have
Mm,
gatekeeper. I mentioned this before several times. Other ethnic groups have gatekeepers. The black community don't have gatekeepers. When you have gatekeepers that used to be back in the 1950s and 60s that keep the black community in check, it reminds the people what the end goal is supposed to be. You and I both know this
Do you
very,
think
very
that,
well.
yeah, do you think that men should be gatekeepers like I say, or do you believe that the government should be the gatekeepers like Chaotic says?
I'm the same place that you are. Man should be the gatekeeper because let truth be told, your ethnic group, my ethnic group are in this country today. It was said back in 2019 by the Trump whisperer that of all the ethnic group, Nigeria the most highly educated group. It
Right,
because they had gatekeepers. The Chinese have gatekeepers. The Japanese
they
got
do.
gatekeepers. As well the Jewish,
Yes.
the Italian, and etc. Now we
Right.
can go to La La Land and dream, oh, we should apply. No, what I tell people, look at other ethnic groups. Learn how they conduct themselves. Learn what kind of mindset that they have and see if you can not copy it, but figure out what you think you can take from what lesson you can take from them that you can add on to yours. You know what? We need to get back to where we used to be, but you gotta start from here.
I hope
But
Chaotic can hear you. I really hope Chaotic can hear you
I
because
hope so he could hear
this
me
is this is what I say
because
all the time. Like, I don't believe that the government should be our daddies. I don't believe in the government being our daddy because he will
let me put
never
it
do
like
the
this.
job as good. He will never do the job as good as daddy could, as a real daddy could.
What he's asking for is what I call how I want to say it. I'm trying to say I'm trying to keep it PG. Like you mix Red Bull and alcohol and you drink that to the brain. Plain stupid. I had to be logical about it
Chaotic,
Sorry.
chaotic.
because I had to be
Yo,
logical about it because as a guy who spent 7 years in Nigeria, lived out here, seen the best of both worlds, interact with different people, know people in high places and low places, I understand what the flaw is within the black community, but having a law, we're not going to fix that. Other ethnic groups didn't have a law and they're doing well in this country. Why I want to put a law just to quote unquote fix the black community? But you forget we have two types now. There's two black America. We had the old black America that you complain about they're not doing great. That is fine. But new black America, people who are like minded, who say there's no point me going back there. I'll find someone who is like minded just as I am. We put our resources together and build another community. It's being done already. We have Mason, Tennessee. We got Arkansas. New more Black Wall Street have been taking place. You know why that's happening? Because they're not going to force nobody to join in their program. And they find someone who agree with them and say, no, let's work together and get it done. They put their resources, they work it out, and they plan work on that solution. And it's growing. While everybody else says, oh, it's not going to work, you leave them alone and let them be. Leave them on the other side of the track. Don't bring them to your project because when you bring them to the project you're working on, you're going to mess it up. It is known. I live in New York City. You know how many ethnic groups in this city alone? As you walk by, you start to learn certain things that people are doing in our own pocket community, and they're doing great. It's because you know why? They have the gatekeepers. They are one-minded on their end game. They're not playing individuality. They look out for one another in some kind of game, but they're not perfect. But they're making progress. That is something I learned because when you've been in the city for
You're
long enough,
muted, chaotic.
for more than 20 years, and you start watching other communities, start to sit back and trying to analyze them, why they act the way they act, why they think the way they think, why they're doing better than we are doing, you have to realize they're not worried about what's being on the media. They're worried about themselves. They pull our resources together. Let's work on what we can work on.
You're
I have
muted,
seen this.
chaotic.
I have seen the conversation
I'm not.
in local town halls when people trying to come together, especially in churches. People will be arguing. Oh, it's not gonna. I realize one thing. Yes, black people can be their own worst enemy. But the same token, not everybody are the same. All you gotta do is pick out those who think the same way as you put them to the side, leave everybody else alone. You sit down, you negotiate, you talk. We don't have to agree on a certain thing, but once we have an idea what we can build upon, we work on that and keep it moving. That's all
Do
you
you have a
can do.
response,
Yes,
Mr.? Do you
you
have a
can bring back
response to it?
shame, but you can't put a law on that. It's not gonna work for the folks.
Chaotic. Do you have a response for him?
I believe it or not, I didn't hear much of what he said. I had to pick up the call, which I apologize about. But it sounds like Canadian-born Nigerian was speaking about how people can just self-governance, how people in I want to say the borough was self-governing. If I'm not mistaken. I'm on.
Right. Right. He said that he didn't believe in the government taking over on the jobs that the fathers should be doing. What do
Mm,
you what do you say?
well, again, I stand by this, and I keep on saying it. Having a father in the home is very integral. That I agree with, but it does not detour. You know, speeding, breaking traffic laws, um, certain social behaviors. Um, it doesn't, and the whole idea of evolving is to go to the next level. And yeah, that's fine having a father in the home, but what if he doesn't have table manners? What if he, is an individual that was a smoker, then you picked up smoking? The whole idea of the social credit system that China has implemented is that it wants you to become a better human being. It wants to improve humanity. Like it's a larger scale social evolution, if that makes any sense. I just made that up. It's in, again, I like the whole fact that what he said about the father being in the home, but because the father's in the home doesn't mean that society is going to evolve to the next level. That doesn't mean anything. We're going into the space age eventually, and certain things have to be eliminated from human behavior, like littering, like spitting on the street. You can't spit on the street in Singapore. You get, fathers. You have a good father, but he's not going to teach you shouldn't spit because it may not even make any sense to him to teach you that. But a society that doesn't spit on the street is a society that has clean streets that you can essentially eat off of. It's the little things like that fathers don't really talk about. Yeah, a father will tell you not to join a gang, or a father will tell you not to hang out with those boys right there, son. But a father ain't really gonna tell you not to chew gum and spit it on the street, because a father is not gonna go into to the reasoning why. But a social credit system goes into the reason why. You spit out gum on the street, then you would break. You would do something else after that. You would do something bigger eventually. and it causes chaos. It does. People from New York know about spitting gum on the street. Look at a lot of the streets in the borough. You got all these black spots. It's social decay. It's urban decay. It's not good on the eyes. A lot of that is eyesore. Singapore looks beautiful. Most of China looks beautiful. Uh, yeah, it looks like heaven in some places. Go ahead, Canadian born Nigerian. Go ahead.
When you mention about the social credit system, you should know it's rooted from something that dated far back into the past. If you think about the history of China, when they were being invaded by the American,
You got to come
by
on
the Eu-
screen moving forward. You got to come on screen. Go ahead.
by the American, by the European, by the Espanol. Remember, it's been dated in history whereby people from America and other European countries will go into China and say such things as the Chinese men are sick and weak. And that have been dated and it's documented in history for a good long period of time until when the Chinese came to America and that same mindset, that same talking point was also spoke upon them here. There's a reason why they built that for themselves to prove to the world what the world have been saying about them for many of years. I didn't talk about decades. I'm talking about a couple of centuries of verbal and physical abuse upon their own people. That is why they have that system in place. Which I can fully understand, and I cannot blame them for thinking that way. Because you know why? When you go to a country and you say something about their people, saying they're a weak X, Y, and Z, and you try to exploit them for a long period of time, you force them to start to think, you know what? Enough of this nonsense. We're not gonna let nobody come in our country and say my people are weak. So you go push something to force everybody to prove that we're all strong from top to bottom, which is correct. Now talk about the cleaning hood of China. Well, Japan is no different. Japan keep themselves clean. I had to make fun of New York City. I had to work for
Well,
MTA. Hold on. I used to work for MTA for 2 years. MTA subway system was trash compared to the Japanese subway system was super clean. They can actually eat off the floor. But
but
there was a culture they implement in their area where they want to keep their environment
the
clean.
but see, again, man, you guys are making great points, but you got to realize the Japanese are God's chosen people. They are superior to everybody on the planet. So the reason why they don't need a social credit system is because it's already implemented within their DNA. They don't have to be reminded not to litter. It's just a part of their culture to clean up. Other groups of people are just not like that genetically. Other groups of people are just not like that. They're not, and it's the truth. And I know it makes people uncomfortable. I know Amira, she's moving around, but it's the truth. They don't need that. We black people, we need those systems. We litter. It's honest to God's truth. And you know it. Having lived in Nigeria, I'm assuming Lagos or Abuja for 7 years. You know we litter. So we need those
Yes,
measurements.
we litter, but we
Yes.
also do clean up as well. This is where I to talk about.
We're not gonna do it. See, we don't have a culture where we just do it on our own. We don't have a culture like that. For the most part, we're not as advanced as the Japanese. We're just not. And other
No,
groups of people are not as
hold
advanced
on.
as those
I
people.
will push back on that because
Well, all you gotta do is look at their culture and look
spending
at
7 years
everybody
in
else they live
Nigeria, I live on the high level of Nigeria and the low level of Nigeria. Even in the poor areas, even the poor area, they do their very best to try and keep their own environment clean as much as they can.
in. Yeah, but
I cannot hold back because you didn't have no floor people like we have in New York City. You have the car coming in. We didn't have that. People were doing it by themselves. People were cleaning their own gutter. People were cleaning their own environment. In the school system, there was no janitor. You had students carrying the cutler, cutting the grass themselves, cleaning the classroom, cleaning the bathroom, wiping out the windows and everything, which is no different from the Japanese mindset of doing so. But you can't say such a thing when the government implementation of the infrastructure was subpar. I backed my country for that because
Canadian.
they had the talent, they had the knowledge, they had the wisdom, but there's some people in power who are too greedy. They want to think about themselves and not the people, which I can fully comprehend. But
Canadian
I'm
born
not gonna overlook certain things and just say, "Oh, this is what it is." No,
Canadian born Nigerian. Let me get you down. There's other people in the back. Thank you so much for calling in, and you make good points. I agree with you on that. Yep.
Hi,
Thank you.
Canadian.
Amir,
I haven't seen him in so long.
I noticed that you were looking kind of like cringeworthy when I was speaking about the Japanese not needing social credit system because it's already implemented in them. You look like you had a problem with me saying that. Did you have a problem with me saying that?
Chaotic, I'm starting to realize that you're trolling me, so I'm starting to
I'm
not have that much of a
I'm
problem
not
with it.
trolling
But
you.
wait,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, Amir,
I want to answer your question. I
go
want to
ahead.
answer your question.
Go ahead.
Your question about me cringing was the reason I said that is because the Japanese also majority, like not, I want to say 90%, grew up with their grandparents and their parents in the homes. So this is the reason why they have that social credit already established. This is why they don't need daddy government. See, if we had the same thing, we would be like that too, but we don't. We
Amir,
have no shame.
Amir, you're Lebanese, right?
Yes.
Amir, you know what you just said and did was disingenuous because I know you as a Lebanese woman, you've been around a lot of blacks. You know that black households will have 2 and 3 generations living in that household.
Of
So,
women.
it,
Of women.
okay,
Not
go ahead, go ahead.
that's not the same, chaotic. That is not the
So
same.
you're
You know
saying in
that.
Japanese households, magically they have the grandfather still alive, the grandmother, the great grandfather. You're telling me that so it's just a nuclear lineage, right?
No, I mean it doesn't always have to be the grandparents, but in a lot of families, Asian families, they do have the grandparents there. But even if they just had the mother and father, they still had their dad there.
So
Just
what
like
is
our countries, we still have the dad. We still have a lot of shame in our culture. There's nothing but shame in the Middle Eastern culture. There is no there's shame everywhere.
Amir? Give me 1 second. Let me read this super chat, and I agree with you, guys. I apologize for not reading the super chats. I got to get on it. Eddie with the $5 super chat says Emperor Hirohito. Emperor Hirohito. I can't say it the way the Japanese said because they have a superior language. Though the Japanese were superior until August 6, 1945. I mean, come on, man. Look at their culture now. That's all you gotta do, sir. Thank you so much. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Amir.
Their culture now is dying. Their people are dying. The women are dying alone in their apartments. They even have a term for it. I forget what it's called. Something she, because she means death in Japanese. Something she, where is dying alone. That's happening. Cats are eating old women alive, old Japanese women alive, because there's no men anymore. Because their men have been feminized beyond the point of recognition. That's why you can't tell if a Japanese man, if he puts on a wig, you'll never know if it's a man or a woman. These people have been damaged. They are not. I would not call that. No, I'm
You
sorry.
know,
I wouldn't call
Amir,
that.
this is the tragedy of, and this is why I'm so glad that younger people do watch me. We have to stop lying to ourselves. Just as
You,
many Japanese women are dying alone, there are white women, there are black women that are dying alone too in the same conditions. We have to
they
stop
can.
this. First of all, Amir, you know this, Amir. I know you're not black, but you know this about the black culture. A lot of black women are single, and a lot of black men are single. So what are you arguing here that the Japanese are a dying culture? What if I could argue and say that the Japanese are practicing eugenics? They're getting rid of their inferior. I mean, mind you, and it's shame to me to say this, but what if the reason why they don't overbreed is because they breed for excellence, and you can clearly see that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure they all just came up with a plan to only breed. I'm sure that's what it is. I mean, even though there is a problem now where women are
Trigger Mike,
saying that.
Trigger Mike, you got to be on camera, bro. What's up, Trigger Mike? How you doing? Oh, there
Trigger
you go.
Mike is here.
What's up, Trigger
Hi,
Mike? How
Trigger
you doing,
Mike.
Trigger Mike? Um,
Hey, Demir.
sir,
Hi there.
I've been saying a lot of things, sir, about the social credit system in China, how it should be implemented in America, particularly in the black community. Um, Amira does not believe, or she doesn't agree with me when I say that the Asian culture, particularly Chinese and Japanese, are God's chosen people. But what say you on everything that we've been saying so far, sir, for the past hour and a half? Go ahead.
So can y'all, this is a new mic. Can y'all hear me well?
You don't sound as loud as before, but let me try to make some adjustments on my end. It might be my end. Give me a second. Give me 1 second, sir.
All right.
All right, hold on for 1 second. Let me try to make some adjustments. All right, so speak again, sir.
All right. So can you hear me?
Yeah, now turn up your mic just a tad bit. I turned you up on my end. Now, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I think you trolling today, man.
Why am I trolling, Trigger Mike?
I think you trolling today, bro.
Why? What did I say that was trolling? Go ahead.
No, but I definitely disagree. Let me throw this gum out.
See? Throwing the
Don't
gum.
throw it on the ground because chaotic is going to put down your social score
In my own house, treat my own house like that.
in your own house. CC
Okay.
cameras
Go ahead,
are
Trigger Mike. You
everywhere.
got the floor, man.
Nah, but God's chosen people, you tripping. You tripping.
So who are God's chosen people then, sir?
The first people, African people. What you think?
Oh, stop.
I didn't say we were the most progressive. I didn't say
we're not the chosen people, sir.
Can I explain why we're God's chosen people?
Okay, this is.
You
I know
think he would choose a race?
Okay, I
It
know
would be by
this
race.
go off the subject, but go ahead. Why are we God's chosen people, sir? Go ahead.
The meek shall inherit the earth. That's all I'll say.
Let's get you up out of here. Go ahead.
The meek shall inherit the earth. And one thing we have unfortunately been a product of is meekness.
Sir,
if you understand.
Sir, okay. Now, Trigger Mike, I rock with you, man. But what do you think about the social credit system in China, sir? Go ahead.
All right. So the social credit system, in theory, is a great idea. Naturally, it cannot happen. So in theory, great idea. In reality, it is just another. So
you do know it's already being practiced in China.
I do know it is being practiced in China, in a traditionally communist country. So they are, they've already had the systems in place to practice such things. Now, let's say if you bring something like that over here,
go ahead, sir.
Cannot happen. It will not happen, and it will just be another vehicle for systematic oppression and I don't mean that for individuals, I mean for class. So if you want to see more classism in America, go ahead and introduce a social credit system. So the notes I took on what you said, I definitely believe we need to bring shame back. So that's number one. Bring shame back. Like Amira said, put the fathers back in the home. That is paramount. That's actually the first thing that needs to happen. Can't talk about policing individuals. You wouldn't need to do so much of that if we were focused on creating families. So put the men back in the home, focus the resources through them. You'll have a lot of problems fixed that way. Bring back personal accountability as well. So that's a big thing. And I understand what you're saying, Chaotic. That's a big part of the theoretical social credit system. Yes, everybody's personally accountable for their own actions.
Yes, sir.
Which I would love to see, but it cannot happen in a capitalist republic. It cannot happen. It will just be another tool for those with power and money and influence. Money is influence in America to separate, create a wider gap between those that don't have anything or access or money.
Well, and those, Mike, let me ask you this, sir. A lot of people need to look this up about the social credit system in China. It's very interesting if you look at it at a high level. My idea in terms of implementing that within the Black community is this. Imagine, if you will, and I use this example with Amir, considering the fact that he's Arab and Arabs are premier entrepreneurs. That was stereotyped with this. Imagine you're at your place of employment, right? Mm-hmm. It's just you and your wife there. You could be selling cookies. I don't know what you're selling. And imagine you get a notification, a ping. Because this happened. This is the same thing in China. Yep. And this ping says there are 3 individuals in this area that have criminal records, that have a history of smash and grabs. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come into your store and do anything, But imagine you had this information and it's a half a mile in range.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, you know what? I'm going to contact the other entrepreneurs in this area. And you contact the other entrepreneurs and you tell them, hey, we got this car. The cameras pick the car up and we got all this going on. Imagine intercepting a potential smash and grab situation before it even happens. That's what I'm talking about with social credit.
I think you're looking at the benefits of what could happen theoretically,
Go ahead.
and just in the world, I think you're giving too much. You're giving too much grace to humans and our primal animalistic tendency. I don't think you're giving enough grace to the fact that we're going to just use that to increase our bias.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, so I get what you're saying. It would be great to intercept something before it happens. The police have never figured out how to do that, and there's a police department. There are multiple police departments in every state.
Well,
They have remained a reactionary
yeah.
group of
Well,
people, despite all their guns and AR-15s and
yeah.
$10 billion budgets, and they
Yeah.
have never figured out how to be a proactive agency. Only
But
a
that's the whole
reactive.
purpose of the social credit system. And I see you in the back for truth. Hold on, hold tight.
Mhm.
But that's the whole purpose, though. The whole purpose is instead of the police being proactive or reactive, you as the individual, you as the, let's say it, the body politic, you share complex, it could be high, these criminals now are coming to high-end areas now, sir. And what if it's just a network of people here who have information based on, hey, this car was pinged by this camera. This car has been in certain situations or whatever, or whoever's driving it. Just be on the lookout. We already have people who have apps for police scanning, and they know where police are at, or they know about a crime that occurred in the city. Why not have an app like a social credit app, that says this is all this person's information right here?
Yeah.
I think it'd detour a lot of stuff in this country. What if you had an app, sir, that again, you're walking past a billboard, we have a lot of electronic billboards now, and it's a huge face of a man. This man's a serial litterer, and it's up there for 72 hours.
The littering thing gets me every time.
Imagine you're driving on the highway and you see this big sign. Instead of be on the lookout for a robber, it's a serial litterer. And you could be a well-to-do person. Imagine how embarrassing. Now, it could work in your favor, if you're a person who seeks attention. But what if you just, a dude going to work and you just litter, and they say, oh, you litter? Okay. Boom. Put you right up there. And this happens. This is a part of the social credit system in China.
So, yeah, like I said, in theory, everything you're saying is great.
Yes, sir.
I think the littering would definitely be, it'd only be important in high tax suburbs. Those are the only places people expect to be clean. I'm not going to downtown Houston saying, hey, look at this guy littering or whatever,
Yeah.
So it's not really about that. People want to protect and do protect, honestly, the suburban climate, the environment, the way it works out here. Those type of things that go on in the inner city cannot happen out here, especially due to the high tax rate. So, yeah, go ahead.
Trigger Mike, I got people in the back. I rock with you. Do you mind reading the super chat real quick before you leave out?
No doubt. Kenyon Clayton says, this sounds like the prequel to George Orwell's 1984 Chaotic.
Yeah, it is. Trigger Mike, we are animals.
Yeah, I said it.
We are a part of the ape family.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us even look like gorillas and bonobos and orangutans.
Hey, I'm a cute ass one though, I'll tell you that.
We even look like them. To me, I'm just a ape with some clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
To get to, in my opinion, to get to the next stage of evolution, we're gonna have to eliminate primitive behaviors. I was walking, not just even today. You're walking down any metropolitan street and people are hawk spitting on the sidewalk. That's disgusting. That's what animals do. Now, somebody may say, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? There's a lot wrong with that. It's unkempt, unrefined behavior. And it comes from the fact that we are still primates.
Mm-hmm. So
And
I'll
it's
say this.
disgusting behavior.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Just lastly, the social credit system in America, if anything of the sort was ever to be formulated, it need not. So we got to do things a bit different in this country because we are a republic, free market republic. The best thing you can do in this country to get people to get in line is the imagery. We pay too much attention and put too many resources into our degenerate class.
That's
America.
what I said earlier to
Amir. Yeah. So you play up and endorse and finance things for the middle and upper class and those children in those areas and leave everybody else out, and they'll begin to fall in line.
Now, Trigger Mike, thank you so much. Trigger Mike, I want you to look at what this person just wrote. He wrote, CT is too scared to pull up to the Lapeef meetup. Buffalo, what's his name? Buffalo. Now, hold on for a second. Why would I be afraid to pull up to the Lapeef meetups? I thought black people were peaceful. Why would I be afraid, Buffalo? Why would I be afraid to pull up? What's going to happen to me with these peaceful black people? See, this is the reason why. He is proving everything that I'm saying. He said, I'm afraid to pull up to a meetup. Now, mind you, at the white man's hotel, in the white man's metropolitan city, downtown area with security. Why would I be afraid to pull up there? Maybe blacks are violent, Buffalo, like I keep saying it. Because why would you say something like that for a peaceful people? I couldn't imagine a Jew saying that to a Jew. I couldn't imagine a Japanese saying that to a Japanese. Interesting. But salute to you, though, Buffalo. Or Buffalo, whatever. Salute to you. Hey, Trigger Mike, let me get somebody else in the back, man. I rock with you, but we got a lot of people in the back. We're only doing one by one.
No
salute
doubt.
to you, man. Peace. Hey, yo.
You called him Buffalo.
Whatever.
Buffalo.
I love when my point is proven, Amir. Especially with that comment. I'm afraid to pull up to the meetups. Why would I be afraid to pull up to the meetups with peaceful black people? I thought blacks were peaceful. So what would I be afraid of, Amira?
Maybe the weather is going to be bad.
Yeah, maybe the weather's going to be bad. Maybe that's what he meant. Amir, what's up, man? You've been rocking out for hours. This has been a good show. Oh no, we got somebody else in the back. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me see. Moving forward, you gotta come on camera. You have to be on camera. JR doesn't want anybody off camera anymore. You gotta come on camera, sir. Amir, do you get what I'm saying?
I do. You want to see change, and you think that this is the way to do it.
Amir, I've always said this, and by no means am I at that level yet. But I've always said this even on my own channel. The peasants, you, me, everybody in the chat, we're peasants, right? Compared to the kings and queens of society. Compared to the Obamas, compared to, obviously, the Queen of England.
Yeah.
I've always said imitate the kings and queens. Imitate the way they speak. Imitate the way their entire decorum. Obama, people may not like Obama. People may love Obama. In 8 years of him being in office, did you ever see him spitting on the White House lawn? Did you ever see him when he's eating like a monkey? You ever see that? The kings and the queens of society are refined. In my opinion, I believe that's what China is trying to do. They are trying to refine their culture. The Chinese have the worst reputation of being tourists. I know you know that, Amir.
Right.
Yeah, they have the worst reputation. They blow their nose on buffets and all that stuff. They're trying to kill that that primitive aspect out of their genetic pool. It may take, social change or political change to do it, like social credit, but eventually they are going to stop doing those things. That's the whole
We
purpose.
need the degenerates. We need the degenerates, chaotic. Like no matter how much you may think that everybody should act like a king or queen, we
Mm.
need those people. We need the people that scratch their rear ends on trains. We need them. We need them
Uh,
because those people are the ones that clean out your plumbing. These are the people who clean out your plumbing, the people who go in the
Can you hear
sewers.
me?
They need to relax. Hi
Absolutely.
for truth.
For truth,
Hi
let
for
me
truth.
ask you a question. Are the Asian people, particularly the Japanese, God's chosen people? Keep it real. You're on mute. For truth. For truth, you're on mute. What is she doing?
Can you hear
There
me,
she is.
chaotic?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
It seems to be a delay on my end, so I'm not sure if you're responding or not.
Just talk. Just talk. Go ahead.
Oh, I
Maybe
just
she
find it.
didn't.
I think you're very entertaining, especially when some of your views as far as when you're referring to other nations, specifically our nation. I know you understand a lot of the history and some of the things that we have gone through, or what have you. And I don't know where you stand spiritually, but I would say from the things that I've been hearing you talk about, letting the government take control. I think just at looking at humans from a base perspective, we're flawed. So when you're talking about letting the government take control and then letting the government invade our privacy, irregardless of what their motive may be, that's very dangerous because, as they say, history repeats itself. So we've seen time and time again where we allow certain things into our society, and then you have these humans, irregardless of what their religion is, they misuse this technology, they misuse their power, and this, that, and the third. And then when we're talking about other nations, one thing I will say about other nations is what they have been very successful in doing for the most part, unlike what you see in America, is when you go into these other countries such as China, the Middle East, and all of that, they are on one accord when it comes to their religious beliefs. It doesn't matter so much. I do believe that it is better for a man to be in a household, for there to be a nuclear family, and for that family to be successful. But we always leave room for error because there are children that have come from two-parent households, and those children still end up wayward. So I think that for the Black community to get back on the right path, we need to start at the base, and the base is our spirituality, because a lot of times when we're trying to decide what's uh, moral for us, it needs to start at the same place. We can't have part of our community operating in Islam, part of our community operating in some other type of spirituality, and part of our community operating in Christianity. Like I said, one thing I can commend these other nations on is usually when you go into their countries, they have one religion, and so they have one moral code that they stand to, and that's all that I want to say.
Well, for truth, respectfully, I think that you are a typical um, black who loves to blame society and made up past events for any of shortcoming you've had. You've never lived through any of the things that you're talking about. Truth be told, you probably don't even know anybody who's ever lived through any of those things. You live in the greatest country on the planet. You could have been anything that you wanted to be. You could have been a doctor. You could have been a lawyer. You could have been a managing director of a Fortune 500 company if need be. I think that what I'm saying would actually work. You talk about the government, but this is the very same government that has allowed you to live in absolute freedom. Um, I find it ironic that people are talking about this government when you won't go to Somalia, you won't go to Burkina Faso, you won't go to Algeria with with these same talking points. In fact, you couldn't even talk like this in those countries. Um,
It's
your belief,
chaotic.
No, no, Amir, hear me out. No, hear me
Please.
out. I gotta. No, hear me out. Amir, you being a Arab woman, and um, for truth, I don't know what your background is for truth, but you two women have more rights with this government than you do with your own governments, well, your ancestral governments, and your ancestral homelands. So I believe that whatever the government does here is great because you're not in Africa, and Amir, you're not in the Middle East right now.
Well, that wasn't my
I know
point.
you didn't say it, Amir, but but
No,
you're a female up
my
here.
point
Yeah, go ahead.
my point was you said that the freedoms that she has right now, the government has let her have. You said, oh, the only reason she's enjoying these freedoms is because the government has let her do so. And that is absurd because if the government really wanted to, the government wants to have as much control over the people as they can. The only thing that's stopping them is the
For
Constitution.
truth.
That's what gave her her rights. And those
How
are
about this? How about this?
inalienable.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I'm not trying to troll, and I don't really troll. Before truth, can I ask you a serious question?
I think she has a delay.
For truth, you're on mute for truth.
She has a really bad delay.
Yeah, I think she has a bad delay. I want to ask her a serious question. Okay, for truth.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For truth, can I ask you a serious question? And please forgive me. What is your sexual orientation?
That's not
No, no,
right.
no, 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 no. It's important. It's important that I get this answer. What is your sexual orientation for truth?
My sexual orientation. Okay.
You're,
I can be transparent.
yeah.
What is all that noise?
It's for truth. You got some noise. Yeah.
Let me take it off of YouTube because that's how I'm trying to listen because of the delay is very bad on my end.
Yeah, but there's like
My
some
apologies.
tapping.
As far
There's
as
like
my
some
sexual
tapping.
orientation, I do have my struggles in my personal life, but as far as my beliefs are, it aligns with the Word of God and the Most High. I'm a Bible believer. I don't consider myself to be Christian because what we see most of in the churches today doesn't even align with the Word of God. If you were doing studying for yourself, as the Scripture says, to study it and show yourself approved. So with that being said, like I said, I have my struggles and things that I deal with in my personal life, but that doesn't necessarily align with the beliefs that I know to be true.
I gotta put her on mute.
Thank
For
you.
truth,
But she didn't give us an answer.
I gotta put you on mute for truth because it's not because you didn't give us an answer. It's because your mic was it was some interference. Now,
She didn't answer.
For the young people in the chat, I want you to pay attention to this. Now, for truth, she was respectful when she got up here. Now, I noticed that for truth probably lives an alternative lifestyle. Okay, fine. Now, here she goes. She's telling me about the government in America. I would love for truth to go to Sudan. I would love for truth to go to Nigeria, to Ghana, and live her lifestyle the way that she does in those countries, and see if the government there protects her freedoms to be a woman who lives a lifestyle like that, or if you're a man who lives a lifestyle like that. See, this is the problem. You're disrespect not you for truth, but we disrespect. I gotta put her on
You know, I hear everything that you're saying and how you advocate
do me a favor,
for the government.
for truth.
But what has to be
mic,
very clear,
her mic.
even in these countries,
For truth, you got to come back in. Your mic is messing up. You got to come back in. Your mic is messing up. I'm gonna kick you off the studio real quick and just come back in for truth. I want you to come back, but your mic is too bad. I didn't kick her out because I was upset with her. It's just her mic is acting up. Now, Amir, for truth, and I forgot who else said something about this government. This government provides for free education. You get free libraries. You can take out all types of astronomical loans to major.
It's not free. It's paid for by us.
Okay, that's fine. It's paid for by the citizens. But nevertheless, she's talking about the very same government that allows her to practice bisexuality. But she can't go to any African country. She for damn sure can't go to any Arab country. She can't go to all these countries and do that stuff there. But we
Chaos. It's not the
we talk about this government so bad in this country, and it's sickening. Go ahead, Amir. You got the floor.
Chaos, it's not the government that's giving you that freedom. That's the Constitution that gives you that freedom. And second of all,
The
for her, so just
Constitution,
so
the
are you
founding
saying
fathers knew about. The founding fathers gave you the right to be homosexual. That's what the founding fathers said.
yes,
Okay,
you do have the
I didn't
right
know that. I
because
didn't know that
you
George
have
Washington
the
said that.
freedom. No, that's not what he said. He said that you have the freedom to practice, to not be. I'm sorry, to not be discriminated for your religion, your
Sure.
sex, your
So
what
doesn't
is
that
called.
make this country great?
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So just because this is in the system, you're saying that we should allow the government to overstep its boundaries just because we have freedom to be bisexuals and gays?
No, I'm talking about the fact that she got on here and said that I wouldn't want the government to implement this social credit thing because I don't trust the government and the government blah blah blah. But which one is it? Do you respect the government in one instance that allows you to practice your own sexual orientation, or do you?
They don't allow you to. They're forced to follow that. They it's not
I mean,
there. If they had it
trust
their
me.
way, they wouldn't.
Trust me, if the government wanted to stop certain things, they could stop it. They stopped you from drinking alcohol in the 30s. Not us, we weren't born 100 years ago, but the
No,
government.
those were laws.
Yeah,
Those were
okay, well,
laws.
they can make a law too that says you can't practice homosexuality
No,
too.
you can't do that because that would be breaking the Constitution. That would be breaking your constitutional rights. That's different. You can't do that. There are things that the government cannot do.
Hey man,
What's
And
up,
one of
man?
those things would be that.
hey, it's making me sick to my stomach on this, man. That you're saying, you keep saying, free, free, when everything that the government pays for is paid by us, and they we all know, right, about the tax system and how it was started, right? It was not supposed to be here as long as it is. It was supposed to be. It was started, and the reason
Hey,
why it
man,
was
what's your
started.
question, man?
No. I have a point. Remember how you had you a point? I got me a point at the end of this. Remember how the tax system? It was started with
Hey,
It was supposed.
man, get to the point, man. What's
It was
up?
something that was. It was started with something. You keep interrupting me, and expecting me to finish
Because
my point.
get to the point.
It is look. The tax system was started, and it was supposed to be. It was only supposed to be for a certain amount of time, right? And then keep going over it, and it's a stampeding effect until right now, right? And the idea of the tax system was already implemented in other places.
Let's get you up out of here.
Why
Salute
you
to you,
do
man.
that?
Because he didn't get to the point, man. Come on. What is he talking about?
He was
Listen,
talking about the tax
listen,
system.
I rock with him, man. That's my dude. He comes to the channel all the time. But we're talking about social credit here.
You don't
And
think
he
that he
was-
was trying to get to that through talking about the tax system?
Listen.
Taxation without representation?
Okay, all right. Enough's enough, man. Enough's enough. Let me see if he's back in the back again. Let me see. I mean, get to the point, man. Hurry up.
Man, so okay, with that little bit of overreach like the tax system, you think that the government right now, and with that is stampeded into now, you think about the future. Do you think that with a tax credit system, what the government or the people in power, what the government or the people in power would do with a thing like that? They can like in China right now, when it comes to them and them killing people and like just making people disappear, erasing their social security card, their social security number, and everything else, and killing people and just making people disappear. They just raided my man Trump's whole house.
That man.
The FBI and all of them raided my man's Trump's house.
That man.
You think this is? You think that's because he had a disagreement? Just because he disagreed with the politicians and what they was doing against his crony capitalism?
That man. Hold on for a second. Take it easy. I was asking you a question. That man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I rock with you, man. You're a young dude. What are you, like 25?
23.
23. You have a great job. You're in my opinion, you're the bloodline of this country. You're a truck driver. Sir, you were born in the year 1999. I was a freshman in high school, sir, when you were born. Now, here you go. Never been to China. You don't have any knowledge of what goes on internally in the government, and you telling me that the Chinese government makes people disappear based on what facts?
I don't know nothing.
Based on what facts, sir?
Based
I
on
thought he
what
said the
facts?
American system
Okay,
makes
No, he's
people
still
okay,
China.
disappear.
He's
okay.
still
Based on
China.
what
Oh,
facts? Based on what facts? Okay. Remember the Olympian woman who came up missing and disappeared, and she sent the message, and then it was supposed this woman was supposed to be she came out and called somebody else for SA, right, for assault, right, and she disappeared. Nobody knows where she at. Talking about Assassin's Creed. Y'all think I'm talking about a video?
Man, let me get you up out of here, man. I mean, I don't listen. I rock with that, man. But come on, Dap. I mean, what are you talking about, man? This dude Amir was born in 1993. He's telling us about government espionage.
no.
Stop it. Nah. Hold on for a
No,
second.
no, no, no,
Let me
no.
get him up out of
He was
here,
born
man.
in 99, not
Whatever,
93.
99. Okay, let me. Alvin, what's up, man?
What's going on, Mr. Chaotic?
What's going on, man?
Man, I just got a question for you, man. You big up all these other communities, the white communities, the
Yeah.
Jew communities,
Yeah,
the elitist white and Jew communities.
absolutely.
Do you really know what goes on in those communities? Are you aware that that's where most of the cocaine is sniffed? That's where most of the lawless sex parties and such are going on? Are you aware that these are the communities that have the resources to do sex trafficking and all these things? Especially when you say black people are an evil race of people, do you
Sir,
consider these things?
correct
Or
me if I'm wrong, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you seem a little bit older than me, so you know more about this than I do. Wasn't there a film era called Black Exploitation in the early 70s?
facts?
Didn't black people make their own movies about them being pimps?
Right. So,
Oh
but
yeah,
no, and
yeah,
that's fine,
yeah, yeah,
and that's
yeah.
fine. That
Now,
actually
let me
happened. But
ask you a question. Let me
speak to the respect and
Alvin,
revere you have for these other communities
Alvin,
while these other things are going on.
Alvin. I'm not speaking to the respect and the revere. I'm speaking to what's factual. These people control stuff. They have a culture that is based on shaming and based on creating industry. Sir, you talk about these people having wild sex parties. How come Jewish women don't have 3 and 4 children outside of wedlock?
Because they're married after the sex party. They have the sex parties when they're married. These are married folks.
So wait
These
a
are
minute.
married folks that go.
So let me get this. So let me get this
What do
straight.
you mean?
Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Because here goes the thing, Alvin. You could be on to something. So let me get this straight. Single motherhood in the black culture, in the black American culture, and it's spread into Africa and it's spread into Europe now with black people. 75% of households are ran by single mothers. Some black women have 3 and 4 kids from different men. You mean to tell me you're telling me about Jews having sex, but you're not looking at what really goes on in our community?
No. What I'm saying is that you can't say one community is inherently more evil than the next when every community has their questionable practices and questionable ethics and questionable morals. You can't just pit the black community and say, "Oh, that's an evil race of people." And then you praise the Japanese as if
Look at their
they're.
look
I
at
mean,
their
do you know what
look at
goes on
their
in Japan? Have you ever lived? I
you
lived
know
in
what
Japan for
sir,
4 years. I
sir,
lived in Japan for 4
sir.
years.
And you know that the Japanese streets you could pretty much practically eat off of them. Let's stop.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But that doesn't mean that the people are evil. You see what I'm saying? They may be not as cleanly or not as this or not as that,
I
but
never said
to
the
say a
Japanese
race of
people.
no, you said the black people
Generally
were
speaking,
a race of
I would
evil
argue
people. Those are strong words.
I could legitimately argue that there's a lot of hatred in the black heart, sir. Just like Jesse Lee Peterson argues it. There is, sir. You have communities where blacks walk down the street, and if you look at a black person the wrong way, they're ready to fight you or shoot you or kill you. You know this, Alvin. Why are you playing games?
This actually
Alvin,
exists. Yes, it does. I didn't say it's not, but I'm just saying it doesn't exist more. You telling me? Let's speak about white people for one more second. You talk about violence in the black community, right? Are not mostly Caucasian people the only people that wake up on Saturday morning and ride into the woods and kill animals just for fun?
you son of
Is
a
that not
almost, sir. You bastard. Sir. Oh, so let me let me get this straight, Alvin. Let me get this.
About violence.
Let me get this, Alvin. Let me get this straight. Are you a vegan, sir?
I wish I was.
So aren't you participating in the very same system that the white man?
I'm not saying whether I participate in it or not. I'm just saying that everybody is doing fucked up shit.
No, sir, we're not cursing. Like we're not.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to say. I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me mute you real quick. Now, Alvin, see, if you're 19 years old, this is a perfect example of the. Now, Alvin looks to be about a Gen Xer, and I've always said that the Gen Xers are the worst generation of people, just overall. Listen to this man. He's telling us about white men going hunting. They are killing animals in my opinion, in a clean manner. Chickens and cows, if you ever watch the bloodbaths that go on at the factories, I would prefer an animal to get killed the way that they will go out on Saturdays and kill them than the way that they're hunted. I mean, the way that they're breeded in these little tiny factories and exterminated. Yeah. Now, here goes Alvin. No offense. I can look at him and tell he's not a vegan. Is he badly out of? I mean, he's not out of shape, but he's not.
That's wrong.
He doesn't look like an Ethiopian. No, I'm just saying he doesn't. No, I'm saying I'm not super in shape either. He doesn't look like an Ethiopian. He's not a vegan. He's not 125 pounds. This man is the very definition of America. He's proud to be American.
That's true.
Great job. Probably
that's true.
Great home. And he's up here trying to tell me about certain cultures and what they do and don't do. And he does the very same thing.
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're the evilest culture out. I'm saying we all have our share and participate in all of these things. So you can't point out and put one culture on a pedestal above another in that sense.
Alvin,
I believe that wholeheartedly.
How about this? You don't have to tell me the state, but which region of the country are you from?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Okay, sir. See,
right now, here with all the high society.
Now, sir, you lived in D.C. all your life, right?
I have not. I'm a military Air Force brat. I've been around the nation. I've been around the country.
But where are you originally from?
I'm about to explain it to you. I was born in Prince George's County, Maryland. My parents met at Andrews Air Force Base. We then moved to Hampton, Virginia. After that, we moved to MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. From there, we moved to Okinawa, Japan. I was there. Okay. Yeah, I'm cultured, well-rounded.
Okay. Now, with the social credit system in China, and already a culture of shaming and a culture, you know damn well, sir, in Japan, you would wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know you would feel absolutely safe walking down any street, any side alley in Japan. You ain't doing that in DC, sir, in certain areas. Let's stop. You talking to me. You ain't talking to somebody who's a bullshitter.
That's true. Sir, but does that one fact alone make them God's chosen people? I mean, come on. Because nobody can dance or rap or act or sing or move like black folks can. I mean, I'm just saying.
Sir, what does that have to do with, sir?
You just said that's God's chosen people. So there must be superior in everything.
Let me ask you a question, sir. Did dancing and singing build the International Space Station?
Were we ever really on the moon? But go ahead.
I'm kicking out you and Dap now, man. Let me get you up out of here. Any last words, sir? I think you called in the troll too, man. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's fine. That everybody has their talents, everybody has their gifts. But just God's chosen people versus evil people, and you're black yourself saying the most evil people on the planet. It's a little wild.
Let me ask you a question, sir. You know what I find really fascinating?
What's that?
Black people, especially. I stand by this. We should adapt the social credit system. And I think it would help improve our culture and our race. But the problem with this, especially with you Gen Xers, you guys are the worst. You will admit that blacks are the best athletes, especially basketball players. You will admit that blacks are the best at dancing, like you just did. But the moment somebody says, hey, man, y'all need to stop drinking malt liquor, it's a problem. Go ahead.
No, we definitely need to stop drinking more liquor. I mean, I went to the gym today. I'm working on it. I drank my water. I got my water right here. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we can all evenly improve on everything that we're doing. That's what I'm saying. And I think it will take a collective effort to make just the world a better place in general. About the social thing for Americans, it's a lot of things that don't add up with there because it's like, what are you going to put? What's going to be on your social report card, right? Is a felony going to be on your social report card? Because it's public record. I'm a felon, right? But the felony that I committed in 1999 doesn't mean I'm the same guy almost 30 years later, right? But that would be on my social.
I want to point out that 1999 was 23 years ago.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
understand. I'm not doing it, man. But you understand what I'm saying. I was a kid then. I'm a grown man now. And now you only catch me with my woman and my child coming around the corner heading to a nice restaurant.
Is your
So
is
it would
your
be a
is your is
false,
your
it would be
this
a
your
false,
wife?
it would be a false ping.
It's your
That's
wife.
what I'm saying.
This is your wife,
No, it's not my wife.
girl.
My girl.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Go
Respectfully,
ahead.
sir. I don't
Go ahead.
disrespect
Knock
people's
yourself
families at
out,
all.
brother. Go ahead.
She white, ain't she?
No.
Oh, she black?
Very
Okay.
black.
Okay, it is
Very
DC.
black.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay,
Very black.
okay,
Very
yeah,
black.
yeah,
Very
okay.
black. Very well to
Okay.
do. Very
Because if she
cultured.
was
We're
white, sir, I
out
would have
here.
kicked
We're
you up
out
out of
here.
here, huh?
We're out here. You know, in my idea, I really feel like there's three types of black people,
What's that?
right? You'll probably be entertained by this, right?
Go ahead,
You
sir.
have the you have the ones with the ERS, right? The hard ER,
It's about 50% of
right?
black.
Then you have the ones with the COON, right?
Yeah.
That don't identify with their race in no way, shape, or form. And then you have the ones in the middle. The ones that if we need to show our ER side, we'll definitely let you see that.
Now,
If
let me
you
ask you a
need to
question, sir.
see
Let
what
me ask you a quick
go
question.
ahead.
In 1999, how old are you?
I am 40 years old on the dot.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're not a Gen Xer then. You're a millennial then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait, millennials are
Hmm.
40? I thought millennials were
Yeah,
40,
millennials are
up to
like
I
40.
40.
don't even know where they break down at,
Yeah,
but
it's like 40. Yeah, about 40. Yeah. Okay,
Oh.
so you're a millennial. Okay. Well, sir, thank you so much.
hey, I appreciate you guys having a conversation.
I appreciate you serving this country and protecting my freedom of speech, sir. Thank you for standing a post. Did you serve in any of the?
I did not. Both of my parents did though, so I was a military brat.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what had me. That's what had me overseas. Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't
Yeah.
serve. Oh,
No,
okay.
I didn't serve. Yeah, I didn't serve myself. No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you did, but okay, never mind.
Rick,
No.
stop
I said I
texting.
lived in Japan, and you assume that I served
Yeah,
because yeah, that's all. Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Alvin. Thank you
Hey,
so
I
much.
thank y'all, man. I'll keep up the good work.
Thank you, Alvin.
Absolutely.
Uh huh.
Amir, what's up?
I wanted to ask you, do you not think that the social credit score can also be bought? I mean, if we did bring this system here, don't you think that the rich would buy their social credit score?
As they should, just like how they buy tuition to get into Harvard, just like they buy everything. We are animals and we are competitive.
Wait, so
You
how could you say that? How could you say
because
that if
because
wait, that doesn't make any
ask
sense
me a
because if
question.
it
I'm
is,
giving you my answer.
I know I already got your answer. You said as they should.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all I was asking you. I wanted to ask you, how can you say that
I'm
when
gonna
the
tell you
social
why.
credit score is a, what if they are bad people? What if they're bad people? What if
I
there are murderers who are in the upper
rich.
class?
Well, we already know that that's far few in between in the upper class, but you're giving an extreme example. That's fine, but
That's
you and
not
I both know that
true.
Bernie Mac wasn't doing. I mean, Bernie Madoff wasn't doing drive-bys. You know that. Let's shooting up the
No, chaotic. No. What I'm talking about is like when you see the Snap videos, you see Snap and everything. A lot of these people are in upper echelons, and they kill each other. They
Amir,
kill their wives. They kill their husbands.
Amir,
They kill
Amir,
people for
Amir. You and I both know
money.
that
Doesn't make you moral.
you and I both know that violent crime is more of a propensity with the peasant class, not with the
Petty, yeah, petty crime. Yeah.
Amir. I've worked in law enforcement. I can tell you who's in jail and who's not. Wealthy
I'm a
people.
paralegal. I
Okay,
defend them.
I was a probation officer, so you've worked with probation officers. You
Yes.
know that the average murderer is not rich, not wealthy. You know that. Being a paralegal, you know that, Amir.
No, I'm saying that money doesn't make you moral.
I
I'm
didn't
saying
say that
that.
it
You
does,
said they
but
should be able to.
Amir, we live in a capitalistic, competitive society. You
Yes.
cannot escape the fact that people are going to be greedy and people are going to do things. The wealthy have always been able to finagle their way into certain schools, into certain circles. It's up to you to figure out how to do that as well. Go ahead.
But your social credit score should be, as you said, a reflection of your behavior. Now, if if the poor people are getting knocked down for littering, then how can you then say that a rich person who probably does worse, that doesn't get caught?
You and I both
My
know.
neighborhood that I live in, I've seen
I
plenty of
see you in the
crimes
back,
happening here.
Rico. Rico,
I've
pull
seen
up
plenty
here.
of crimes in my. Oh, go ahead. What?
I was telling Rico to hold tight. He was in the back. Go ahead. Get the fuck.
I've seen plenty of crimes in my own neighborhood, which is not lower class, and to say that they should be able to buy their own social credit score defeats the purpose of it.
No,
And
it
you
doesn't.
said that should be allowed.
I didn't say it should be allowed. It's going to happen.
You said as they should.
Wealthy people create industry, Amir. You know that. They
Not
don't work.
all. We're talking about social credit score, right? We're not speaking about money. We're speaking about social credit score, your behavior, and how your behavior affects the community. That has nothing to do with industry. What do you think?
You know, Amir, that, let's be honest, when it comes to the wealthy, they are never going to be treated the same as a peasant. Peasants should be managed. The wealthy create industry, they create jobs. So if a wealthy person jaywalks, yes, it should be. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, they should pay. They should be able to pay their way out of being embarrassed. You want to keep the peasant class managed. Our people like us compared to the. First of all, Barack Obama ain't walking down a regular street, crossing the street. Let's be honest, and you know that.
I didn't say a president. I'm speaking about the upper echelons, the people who just have money that are
Okay.
not known. I'm not talking about celebrities because forget celebrities. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about just upper class people.
Okay. Amir. Let's be honest. Imagine, if you will, I'm a wealthy person, and I'm clearly not. But imagine I'm worth, let's say, 20 million. I come from a good family. My dad he owned a factory or something, yada yada yada. I pay for my son to get into Harvard and get caught. Should I be held on the same standard as Joe Schmo? I don't think so.
If you do the same things that Joe Schmo does, you should be. I mean,
The difference between Joe Schmo is that if you allow Joe Schmo to do it, you allow the hundreds of millions of people who are like him. The average person is not wealthy. So a wealthy person can pay a huge fine. They can donate back to the school. They can create a fund for the school. Joe Schmo
so
can't do
you
it.
so you're saying they can pay for their crimes. Like
They
if
can
they do
pay for their,
jaywalk, then they can pay for it, and
yeah,
that's their way of getting punished is
sure.
by paying for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Problem is that you're gonna have too many people trying to get away with that. You gotta manage peasants. The wealthy can get away with certain things. I'm not saying murder, but they can get away with certain things because they will put back into the system. Definite G, what's up, man?
How you guys doing?
Definite,
Hi.
pretty good. What's up?
Hey,
Okay. Wait, let me come back. My mic is messed up.
Your mic sounds good on our end.
it's fine.
Yeah, but I could barely hear you guys, but I'll come back. 1 second.
Okay. Yeah.
He always has technical issues when he goes
Yeah.
in.
Black.
Oh my god!
Hold on for a second.
Oh my god! Why do you say things?
All I'm saying, Amir, is that in any society, whether it's a communist society, whether it's a capitalist society, the elites, the people who have can get away with certain things. Because the idea is that they will put back into the system at a large scale. Joe Schmo, who lives in a bungalow, him committing a crime is a little bit different. You don't agree with that? Go ahead.
I mean, it's basically the same as getting fined. Like, okay, you got caught littering, so you pay a fine. That's what the rich would do. In your theory, that's what the rich would do. They would pay their fine and pay to get their social credit score raised again, right? So that's them paying their fine for it. Whilst the poor person, because they don't have the money to lift it financially, they would just get stuck with their poor social credit score and just have to live with it.
Amir, imagine a city, right? Imagine a city, right? City has 1 million people. 99% of the citizens are lower class or middle class. Hundreds of thousands of people breaking the law is different from the 1% that might do something. You have to manage the 99% because that 1%, again, they can build industry. They can do things at a larger scale. So it's not in the state's interest to go after somebody who's big like that. That's why a
Well,
lot of times, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
You got the floor. No, you got the floor.
Well, wouldn't that mean that because they can do things at a larger scale, that they can also do crimes at a larger scale? So wouldn't that be even more dangerous
But you and I both
to
know
have
that.
someone with power and influence?
But you and I both know that people at that scale don't commit violent crimes.
Okay. I know.
What's up, Definite G, man? Hold on. Go ahead, Definite G.
First off, how are you guys?
Awesome, sir. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah, I have an issue with the social credit system. Like,
Mm.
yeah, Amira said it like perfectly. Like, it's social credit system. So that means it's going to like incur debt. So that means, especially, understanding how banks work with credit, that they actually make money off of the interest rate, not necessarily you paying back those loans. So with that being said, what if they were to have that debt? How long will it take, or whatever type of community service, whatever type of like things that would have to do to lift that debt off of their record and not have that penalize them for the rest of their lives? Because just like Amira said, like there's people who have like horrible credit scores, and it's difficult for them to get out of that situation because either the interest rate or they just in the hole so deep. So what's going to really, excuse me, my voice is something in my throat. So with the social credit system, it will turn most people, especially in the lower class, into a slave class. People are going to get in so much in a deep hole that they're going to be doing all this community service basically for the rest of their lives because of the incurring debt that's going to accumulate over time. So that's the issue. People are going to be imperfect. People are going to mess up. So what's the checks and balances with the social credit system if it's going to be in place?
There are no checks and balances. The fact is that the whole idea for the social credit system is for you to be perfect. You really need to research China's social credit system, sir. I understand where you're coming from, sir, but we live in a society now, sir, that it's almost like we're reverting back to a primal nature. You need to restrict certain travel from people. You need to punish and shame people for littering, stuff like that, because we are moving towards a different age, and the certain people can't go to this next age, you know, and it starts with the little things. Go ahead, sir.
Well, the thing is, I get what you're coming from. I mean, it does
Absolutely.
start off small, but at the same time, it'll go based on the definition of what, like, if it'll go down to whoever think what is perfect to that particular government. Whatever they think is perfect. It's perfect, like a dumb doting person that's just obeying the government willy-nilly is a perfect person in a certain financial bracket. Like, what would be their definition of perfection if you're going to go down that route? Because then it becomes all about semantics and being subjective based on who's ruling at that time. So it's just going to go all over the place. It's just going to go off the rails eventually.
Thank you,
So
Woke Will, for the $5 super chat. Woke Will says, "What is the alternative to CC suggesting that's actionable? The shame and father issue not changing into time soon." Sir, let me say something real quick, sir. You're about 25, 26, right?
yeah,
Let me tell you something,
26.
sir. Yeah, let me tell you something. I'm 37, man. I'm not that older than you, but I'm a little bit older than you. I have seen communities destroyed. My niggas. I've been saying it for decades. For decades. If you stop littering, if you stop spitting on the sidewalks, if you started shaming people for playing their music loud in their car, the especially the black community will change overnight. So whenever you get certain infractions, in my opinion, you should be penalized. He plays his music loud. You know what? He can't come over to this neighborhood anymore. I think community should do that. I believe in sundown towns. I believe in that stuff. It creates a better, cohesive society. We have to be brutal at this point, because us being not brutal, look where it's gotten us. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I understand. And again, I completely understand where you're coming from. But we have to understand with the black community, we have a very high single mother rate. And a lot of the black men raised by black women are just as emotional as their mothers. So they're going to be out there in the streets being just as, chaotic.
See, you
They're
have
going to
to
be
get on
just
camera
as
too. Go ahead.
chaotic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're going to be just as chaotic and irrational, just like the mothers that are trying to raise them.
Yeah.
So it's really comes down to the family unit. Really, it's really going to, because like I was raised by my father. I've never been to jail ever in my life. The only run-in with the police was a parking ticket. That's the only run-in that I had with the police. So like that kind of proves like, it's really comes down to the family unit. And like, yeah, I don't want the government in the family unit like that. Like, I get it. Like, still the man and the woman still has to be, better versions of themselves to raise, children of the next generation to, build a better society. Cool. At the same time, government shouldn't have that kind of control over the children that much. Like, I get like school systems. We still need to understand what's really going to work in a society moving forward. At the same time, the government should just be more of a referee, not mommy and daddy. That's what
Well,
I think.
you're dealing with see, the government, and Amir, you could chime in anytime you want. Definite G, again, you may not agree with me when I say this, but I'm gonna say it. Some groups of people don't need government. Some groups of people need a lot of government. It has been shown time and time and time again that our people, black, we need government, sir. Look at look at what is happening in this country, America. You have communities now where the police don't even want to show up now. You have utter chaos in a lot of cities that are managed by blacks. we are not tough. We are not our people for some reason need authoritarian style governments. I don't know why we're like this as a people. We need this because because the experiments are over. They've given us in America. They've given us Detroit, Jackson, Mississippi. They've given us Atlanta. They've given us so many cities. Look at what we're doing to these cities. We're destroying these cities. We've destroyed Detroit. Let's be honest. Detroit is destroyed. We've destroyed this. And I don't understand why people look at me and say I'm coon and this, that, and the other. I'm not. These are truths. Anton is from Detroit. He'll tell you. We destroyed these cities, sir. I've seen cities of my own. I've seen communities that when I was a kid were nice, white. As soon as niggas move in, they destroy it because we don't have a system in place, like social credit system, or we don't have certain laws in place. If you stop loitering and littering, just these two things, the black communities would change drastically for the better, in my opinion. You got to stop these things where they go. So you got to put these people on bulletin boards. Hey, this guy's a loiterer. He's a litterer. Whenever you see him, notify the police. You got to. You don't have to do that with Japanese. They just know not to litter for some reason. That's why I said they're God's chosen people. Go ahead, definitely G. I got other people in the back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, well, the thing is, the problem is, again, the credit I have the biggest issue with because it will accrue debt. It's a slippery slope. Like, when will it end? Because there are, again, if there's just so much like immoral, debaucherous people out in the world, and they're just not going to change their ways, then it just creates problems for like the society to move forward if they're trying to advance. Okay, they got a slave class that they have to do it in order to get rid of their debt if it ever in their lifetime disappears. But it'll just create this endless, it won't solve the real problem because people will start to get more apathetic depending on the amount of debt that they've accumulated over their years. They're not going to care anymore. They're like, you know what? I'm already deep in the hole, so hey, it's just going to get worse from there, and it's just going to cause the society, well, at least America, just to get even worse than it already is now. So that's kind of my gripe with it.
Thank you so much, man. I respectfully, I respect your opinion, sir, and you could be on to something. But let me get to the next caller, man. Thank you, Definite G. I am. What's up, man? Your camera's a little bit off, but what's going on, sir?
What's going on, my brother? You hear me?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself, man?
Oh man, I'm all good, man. You know, I be trolling in your comments sometime, man, because you be talking stuff, but I ain't here for all that. But listen, though, I want to understand. I see the social credit system. I definitely not for that. But my thing is like, you know, your response to the black community. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
you don't. I'm first of all, I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
But the black community, everybody's not messed up as you say. You know what I'm saying? It's actually more statistical stats that prove that other races or ethnicities have more turmoil and problems in their community. Our problem is an economic standpoint, which I agree with. And the social credit system, I don't know too much about that to comment on it, but I don't think that'll make anything better. I think that melanated people need to understand the concepts of what we're living in as society, and the nucleus of any society is farming and agriculture. So how is the social credit system going to benefit our people? And I'm really sincerely asking you. I didn't come up here to troll. I came to ask you some, your take on that.
We've been on for 2.5 hours. I said it 2 hours ago, and I'll say it now. A social credit system will change the course of behaviors. It has set a certain standard for your behavior and your decorum in society. The Chinese, just 35, 40 years ago, Most of them just lived in rural areas. They had unrefined behavior, and sure enough, their society changed overnight. When they changed their behavior, they changed their viewpoint on society and civilization itself. And some of the things that I'm saying hold a civilization back: littering, loitering, breaking traffic infractions. These things do mean stuff, and they kind of hold a civilization back. Because again, it's a broken windows theory. If you break these laws, then you break other laws. You break other stuff. That's what I mean. That's why a social credit system is good. Hey, this guy, he pays his debt. He pays his debt. He's a good guy. Hey, you know what? He doesn't run the red lights. He follows the law. He has a good. Yeah, I believe in what China's doing. That's why I called them. Amir, go ahead. What did I call them? Amir's not going to say it. God's chosen people.
She on mute. But I was just gonna say,
No, I said stop trolling me.
I'm not trolling. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I don't believe running red lights or getting an infraction for a speeding ticket or littering. I like to keep my community clean, but I don't believe that's going to change anything. And the government, when we give them so much power, like they just giving us something, they didn't give us nothing. You are the government. Government, the etymology of government means to control one's mind. You know what I'm saying? So that's where all the governing starts. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you when we do need to have systems in place, but we need to understand what government is and operate from that spectrum.
If it wasn't for the United States government, sir, you would be living in a mud hut in Africa.
No, I wouldn't. But I'm gonna digress, my brother. I wouldn't be living in a mud hut in Africa because
where would you be living at?
Well, truthfully, I've been on this land since my existence, so I'd probably be right here. But yeah, I say I've been on this land since my existence. I don't know anything else. I didn't come from Africa. I was born on American soil. Is what I'm saying. So
that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, so I can't make a full distinction on that. But
yeah.
I don't believe the government gave us any goddamn. Excuse me. Let me not.
No,
say
you good.
I don't believe the government gave us anything. I believe that systems have been put in place and we've been used to think that we have been given something, but really, how could you give me something when I am the people who put you in power?
You put who in power, sir?
We put the government in power. They say we have elected officials. You appoint people into those positions based on the people. We have a de facto government. What I feel like people took over the government. It's not our real government, but that's here nor there, man. I appreciate you for having me. I want to ask you one more question, man. Is you related to Maxine Shaw of In Living Single? Because you kind of look like her.
I am not, sir.
All right, y'all have a good one, man.
Thank you.
For sure.
Bye, Diane. Yeah, this has been a pretty good show. Chaotic. It looks like you have busy phones going on. I can't see any of the super chats or comments, so I wish I could carry on, but I can't see anything. By the way, guys, I do not agree with what Chaotic is saying. Please do not put me in that bus. I don't agree. I'm going to say it here again, just in case for those people who didn't hear me. Hi, Chaotic. Public service announcement. I do not agree that Chinese people are the chosen people of God. Ugh. Because I know God can do a lot better.
I gotta answer this. Yeah, Uyghurs. Uyghurs are being imprisoned in China. You know why? Because they are holding the development back. They are living. No, stop it. They are, Amir. Stop it. They are holding. You cannot have these types of people still living like that in an advanced civilization. It's not going to work.
The Uyghurs are the farming class. These are farming class people. You can't live like a farming class person because in a developing nation, we all got to be queens.
No, you did the research. You know that the Uyghurs or the Uyghurs. I've heard both pronunciations.
But the other one was wrong.
They are They are a backwards people. It's the truth. They're
Why? Because they're Muslim?
no, it's because they are backwards. They are not trying to. They are not keeping up with progression.
What did they do?
It's what they're not doing.
What?
Can I ask you a
You know
question?
what?
Can I
You're
ask you a
just like,
question, Mary?
oh my
Can I ask you a
God.
question, Mary? At one point, human beings lived in the Stone Age, right? Could
Mhm.
you imagine living in the Stone Age and going into the agricultural age, and somebody in the Stone Age is saying, I don't want to go into the agricultural age? Could you imagine somebody living in the agricultural age and telling someone, I don't want to go to the industrial age? You cannot have these types of people hindering progress, Amir. What are we talking about here?
So, what is the progress that the Chinese were making that the Uyghurs were stopping?
Look how they're living.
Yeah, so people are not allowed to live a certain way because what the progression needs everyone to be in lockstep.
If it wasn't for progression, you wouldn't have air conditioning in your mansion that you're living in right now.
Progression is going to happen no matter what. And I'm in the guest house. I'm not even in the
Oh,
house. I'm in the guest house. But progression is going to happen no matter what.
yeah.
So you don't need to try to force people to move along with it. It'll naturally progress. That's why it's called progression. It will happen. It's no matter what, because air conditioning, a lot of people thought is from the devil. People thought that microwaves were from the devil. And then you see now microwaves are in everybody's house. It will happen. You don't need to force people to live a certain way just because you want progression to happen now.
And the
Uyghurs.
are Uyghurs, and they're always going to run into problems with the Chinese government because of the very same reason that you're talking about. The Chinese are advancing at an astronomical rate, and you got people who are still listen. In China right now, what about the urban communities in the cities, right? Like the urban villages, right?
Mhm. You mean urban cities?
No, the urban villages that are in the cities. These are pretty much the
Oh,
equivalent of third world environments. Why on
okay.
earth? Why on earth would anybody want to live in those places?
Because some people prefer simple lives. They don't
No, it's not
prefer.
about people life. It's the fact that the government has built mega cities around which once were villages. I understand that some of these people have been living there for generations, but get with the times. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead, Amir. Go ahead. You got the floor.
I think you said your point. Everybody, there's no need to keep your traditions or your lifestyles. When the times change, when the elite change, that's when you need to change. You need to pick up, pack up, and get with the program, or else be imprisoned like Uyghurs, be used for your organs like Uyghurs, be abused like Uyghurs. Yeah, that's what you should get if you don't pick up and move with the times of the elites.
Amir, you
He
know
said it
I'm
first. Here.
Amir, you know I'm not saying that. What I'm
You
saying
just said
is
that.
I never said that those people should be treated bad. All I'm
But
saying
that's
is
what's happening. That's what you're not understanding. The things that you're asking for, the totalitarianism that you're asking for, that's what happens, chaotic.
Amir,
People get, yeah,
Amir,
okay.
the very same house that you're in right now was once um, uh, on the land of the natives, right? Do you have a problem with that right now?
People went to war and they lost. That's a different thing. You go to war and you lose, well, that's just what happens.
So the
But this
Native
is not a
Americans had a
war.
standing army. So you're telling me the Native Americans had a standing army?
If you have a land that you're on and you can't defend your land, then you will lose it.
So
That's
what
what
do you think is happening to
happens.
the Uyghurs?
What? Are you kidding me? The Uyghur, okay, the Native Americans,
What's
that
the
was the time.
difference?
No, that was the times that we were living in. That's different. Right now,
Oh,
you're telling me
I can't
that's
believe it.
different.
So that
No,
was
that's not.
different. That was different. But
No,
all of a sudden, the
no.
Uyghurs, the same situation, is wrong that the Chinese government wants to pretty much remove these people from the land.
I don't agree with the Chinese government, first of all. And you know why they're doing it. They're doing it because they don't want Muslims in their country too. They don't want Muslims in their country. So they're doing whatever they can to maybe scare people away or what have you. But you're talking about a time when, back in the time when America was created, back in the times when we started moving west, where you had the Europeans moving west. Back then, if you weren't able to defend your land, you lost it. That's how all the countries in the world have become. But the Uyghurs are not making their own country. They're not trying to say, "Oh, this is our land." This is, something. They're getting taken from their homes and living in China. They know what country they live in. They're not trying to make a separate country. So it's not exactly the same thing.
How about this? So we're talking about a group of people that nobody has no clue what we're talking about. Let's because But I'm so glad that you knew about the Uyghurs.
Oh, the Uyghurs are Muslims in China, guys. The Uyghurs are Muslim people
And they
that
are
live in China.
And if anybody looks at them, they look like a mixture between Asians and Arabs.
They are. They're Eurasians.
Yeah,
Eurasians.
Eurasian. Okay. Amir, this has been a great live stream. I think I'm gonna end it. Any last words?
You need to stop trolling, Chaotic, because I think everyone is onto you. Everyone is onto your nonsense, and I do not agree with that.
Why do you think that I'm trolling?
I guess maybe you're probably not. I just don't believe that you could be this totalitarianist. See, I didn't think that you were for a big government. I thought you were more of a conservative who believed that government should have its own place and stay there, small government, let the people decide. And it just surprises me to see a conservative say like this.
Inter armis silet leges. I probably said it wrong. You know what that means?
I don't even know what you said.
It's Latin. In times of war, the law falls silent. Look at what's happening to this country, Amir.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be brutal in these times right now. You have to be. Amir, listen, I've seen it in my life. I've seen the little things turn into absolute chaos. It starts with little things like littering. Let me ask you a question. What if somebody would have told the first person in Detroit, the first black, you shouldn't litter? We'll call the police on you. What if that would have happened? Maybe that would have changed the trajectory of Detroit. What do you think about that, Amir?
That does happen because littering has always, I don't know how, when that began, when the law began that you shall not litter, thou shalt not litter. But littering has always been against civilized people. It's always been against civilized people since the beginning of towns and villages and cities. Everybody knows that. But what you're saying is when you have the moral, there's an echo. When you have the morality of the people going down, those little things tend to fall to the side. You know what I mean? Those little things like littering tend to fall to the side because morality is going down.
Amir,
That's what.
Can I ask you a question, Amir?
What?
Be honest. Please be honest with me.
Yeah.
Just be honest. Be honest. You grew up with your mother and father?
Of course.
Okay. They were homeowners?
Yes.
Did they own any homes around blacks? Be honest. Be honest. Be honest.
What does that have to do with anything?
Did they own any homes in a black community? Be honest.
When we lived in New York, we didn't own. No, I am being honest. Let me answer.
Live around blacks.
Let me answer.
Go ahead.
Oh, I have 10% of my battery left. No, when we lived in New York, that's the only time that we lived in stop doing your face like that. That's the only time that we lived in, but.
How come your parents didn't live around black people in Bronx, Harlem, etc.? How come they didn't live around?
Well, there wasn't any good housing there.
Wait, what do you mean? There's no good housing around black people?
I wouldn't say black people. There are black people in my neighborhood. It's just that there wasn't in those areas where it's like lower income areas. There wasn't the houses that we wanted. So the houses that we wanted, we do live amongst black people. We live amongst Asians, unfortunately, but we also live amongst everyone else, you know, like
People tend to want to live around civilized people. People tend to vacation to destinations that are civilized. The fact of the matter is that I have observed an issue within my community and my culture. A lot of us are not civilized. A lot of our countries are not civilized. Nobody ever says, "Hey, honey, let's take a trip with the family and the kids to Nigeria. Let's go to Gambia." Nobody says those things.
Nigeria is beautiful. I've heard lots of people going to Nigeria. I haven't seen people going to
Amira,
Uganda.
Amira,
Uganda, no.
typically African countries are not destination spots. European countries are. Western European countries are. Because they have a standard of civilization that they have obtained. China,
Okay.
China is obtaining a level, a level that is literally going to the next level. Singapore, literally nobody heard about it 60 years ago. Now Singapore is a travel spot because it is civilized, because they have a set of standards. You
Because they
cannot
have clean
litter.
water.
You cannot do this. You can't do this. And for some reason, people still go there. How come people don't go to these African countries where you can litter and do all what you want to do on the streets? Because it's not civilized. That's all I'm
I
saying.
would I would argue it could be that. It could be the cleanliness of the cities, and it also could be the cleanliness of the water.
Yeah.
Because some people, most Americans, because of the standard of water, we other places don't have clean water. I mean, go to Mexico, you don't drink the tap. Um, I mean, and Mexico is a vacation spot, but you never drink the tap water. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You could be right.
I
You
don't
could
know.
be right.
I could be wrong. I could be right, but you could be right or wrong. Amir, this has been a great live stream. Guys, please look up the social credit system in China. Please look it up. It is incredibly interesting. A lot of people think that it's dystopic. I think it's utopia. But nevertheless, salute to you, Amir. I'm out of here.
Bye bye.
Peace. Guys, that was Amir and me. Hopefully she comes back the next time. I don't know. I don't know if she will though. She kind of got, kind of like, oh, don't say that. But she's cool. I rock with Amir. Hey guys, have a good one. Please go to the Chaotic Truth Live if you can. Please like this video. Please share this video. And if you are a hater, if you are a Gen Xer or a baby boomer particularly, please feel free to hate all you want. Please feel free to mention how you are a victim. Uh, please feel free to mention that I'm a tether, supposedly. Do all of that. Salute to everybody that came out to listen. Peace. Have a good one.